Good evening, all. I've got 6 o'clock. Today is October 7, 2025. We are in the Warren County Boardroom in Indianola, Iowa. Tonight we have a special meeting with only one item on the agenda. With that, can we please convene the meeting? Ms. Otterby.
Erickson?
Here.
DeWitt?
Here?
Arnold?
Here.
McIntyre?
Here.
Here, we do have a quorum. First up, I just want to go over some quick ground rules and give the public a brief bit of understanding. We are holding a special meeting tonight to accommodate schedules. That was a choice that the board made. It was not required. It was actually scheduled for this morning. But considering that many of you might be working during the morning, we decided to have an evening meeting for your benefit. Not required again, but we felt it was appropriate so that we could hear all sides and get a good, clean record with as many people who want to participate as possible. With that said, we are going to have order in the meeting tonight. We do have staff that are coming tonight. I anticipate this will be a long meeting. That's fine, but we're not going to speak over each other. We're going to be respectful at all times. During the public hearing portion of this meeting, comments will be limited to 3 minutes. There'll be a timer on it. When the timer goes, that's that. Not trying to be rude or cut people off, but I anticipate a lot of people want to speak, so we want to hear from a lot of people. And that's the way that we'll do it. So with that, I will make a motion to enter public hearing for New Pioneer Gun Club for a rezoning of land from A1 Agricultural District to C2 General Commercial Highway District. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please, to go into public hearing.
Erickson?
Aye.
DeWitt?
Aye.
Arnold?
Aye.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Cook?
Aye, we are in public hearing.
Would you like to do the presentation first from staff?
Sure. Let's start with Becky. Good evening.
Good evening. The New Pioneer Gun Club is asking to rezone 4 parcels from A1 Agricultural District to C2 General Commercial Highway Service District. This gun club currently exists in Waukee, and I will present all 4 applications together, but they will each be voted on separately. The first hearing is for parcel number 27000320240 with an address of 2742 G76 Highway, New Virginia, Iowa 50210. The second hearing is for parcel number 27000320260. The third hearing is for parcel number 27000320840. And the fourth hearing is for parcel number 27000320860. I will read the facts of findings, and this is the same for all 4 parcels. Will the proposed district be a benefit to the general public? Yes. Is the location of the proposed district in accordance with the land use plan and policies? Yes. Could the proposed district be considered spot zoning? No. Will the proposed district maintain or protect property values of adjacent landowners? Unsure. Is the time schedule and type of development considered within the proposed district reasonable? Yes. Does the proposed district correspond to the area of the proposed development? Yes. Will the proposed district be in accord with the intent, purpose, and spirit of the zoning ordinance and the land use plan and policies of Warren County? Yes. Will the proposed district be located at least a quarter mile from any existing livestock feed lot with more than 500 head of livestock on feed or poultry farm housing more than 5,000 fowl? Yes. Does at least 75% of the property in the proposed district have a corn suitability rating of 55 or less? Yes. Is the proposed district or any part of it located within an area subject to flooding? No. Will the development within the proposed district be located outside of areas subject to flooding? Yes. Does the proposed district include heavily timbered areas? No. Will the development within the proposed district minimize the loss of woodlands or timber? Yes. Will the proposed source of water supply and wastewater treatment meet the requirements of the Warren County Board of Health? Yes. Will telephone, gas, or electric service be available to serve the development in the proposed district? Yes. Will the existing roads and bridges providing access to the proposed district be adequate to serve the proposed development in accordance with the requirements and standards of Warren County? Yes. Is classroom capacity and school bus service to the proposed district adequate to serve the proposed development in accordance with the requirements and/or recommendations from the local school district? Not applicable. Will existing and/or proposed parks in the vicinity or within the proposed district be adequate to serve the proposed development in accordance with the requirements and/or recommendations of the Warren County Conservation Board? Not applicable. Will the development within the proposed district minimize soil erosion, dust, surface water runoff during and after construction in accordance with requirements and standards of Warren County? Yes. Is the proposed district located outside of approach zones of airports and landing strips? Yes. Will the development within the proposed district minimize noise levels during and after construction so as not to create a nuisance to adjacent property owners? Yes. Is the proposed district located within an urban expansion area as shown on the land use plan? No. This location is among other C2 and M2, which is heavy industrial zone properties. There's not a lot of housing within that area, and it's where the future land use plan calls for these types of commercial properties to be located along with the interstate corridors and on pavement. On September 10, 2025, the Zoning Commission recommended approval with a 3-to-1 vote. As you have seen in the board packets, we have heard from much of the public in support and in opposition of the rezoning. And I've gotten a few more things that I've heard from the public since I have sent out those packets. So I'm gonna pass those out so you have a copy. I will read those and put them into record. Okay, this first one is from, I hope I pronounced your name right. I apologize if I don't get it right. Ayel Nagar. He says, Dear Warren County Zoning Commission and Board of Supervisors members, I am writing to express my strong support for the new Pioneer Gun Club's request to relocate to 2742 G76 Highway in New Virginia, Iowa, and obtain C2 zoning classification. This project offers significant benefits to Warren County's youth, economy, and community, and I urge you to approve the request. Youth development and safety. The club's new facility will direct support over 300+ athletes from local youth shooting programs, including Indianola Trap, I-35 Shooting Sports, Warren County Shotgun Sports, Des Moines Clay Crushers, Southeast Warren Shooting Sports, Simpson College, Grandview, William Penn, to name a few. These programs instill responsibility, discipline, and teamwork in young participants. As dedicated modern facility will ensure safe, accessible training and competition opportunities, fostering the next generation of ethical firearm enthusiasts. Economic and community benefits. The club's relocation will also spur economic growth by hosting large events attracting hundreds of participants and guests, generating revenue for local hotels, campgrounds, restaurants, gas stations, and retail businesses. The club will also provide rental space for meetings, training sessions, private parties, and community fundraisers, complete with kitchen facilities and event support. They plan on offering corporate team building activities and fundraisers that promote outdoor engagement and camaraderie for all skill levels. By approving this zoning request, Warren County will gain a versatile venue that supports both economic vitality and community connection. The new Pioneer Gun Club has a proven commitment to being a good neighbor, safety, education, and responsible ownership, ensuring this facility will be an asset to the area. Thank you for your time and consideration. I strongly encourage you to approve the C zoning classification for this project and welcome the positive impact it will bring to our community. Please feel free to contact me with any questions. Okay, and then we heard from Terry Gardner. He said, I understand the concerns of neighbors over the proposed gun range by New Virginia. However, I think hysteria is playing a big part. I also think quality deer management is a term coined to help deer hunters and does not play a part in the traditional agriculture. I really don't see how this would negatively affect most of the concerns people are having other than the noise, and that would be gotten used to over time, just like I have gotten used to the sounds from the interstate that runs through my farm. It would have a great impact on our trap shooting teams, not only for our school, Interstate 35, but all the schools around who would use it for their events and tournaments. All in all, I think it could be an asset to our community and would like to see it succeed. Thank you for your time. Okay, and then we heard from Jeffrey Peterson with Overton Funeral Home, Warren County Board of Supervisors. I draft this letter as a statement of concern regarding the proposed rezoning of land in close proximity to the New Virginia Cemetery. It has been brought to my attention that there is a request for rezoning for a gun club to move to the New Virginia area. I am certainly one for growth in our communities, but the information I have been given and the amount of munitions that would be spent, this would certainly affect the area surrounding the cemetery. Please consider the solitude and respect of those that visit the cemetery in your decision regarding the rezoning of that area. Okay, and then we heard from Susan King. I think we've got several other communications from her, but this is the latest one we have received. I am Susan King, and along with my husband, we live 1.2 miles as the crow flies from the proposed rezoning for the new Pioneer Gun Club off G76. We reside at 3770 Wilson Street, New Virginia, Iowa, 50210. I left a voicemail for you yesterday and would like to arrange a time to chat or set up an interview. We are simply just sick at the thought of the rezoning passing and a gun club moving to rural New Virginia. We are vehemently opposed to the rezoning from A1 to C2 for a member-only, 365-day-a-year operational gun range open from 7 a.m. to dark. The proposal also indicates they would be installing lights for night shooting. Using estimates derived from the I-35 shooting team coach, we could hear 24,000 plus gunshots weekly, just from the teams they are proposing practice there. This number doesn't include members shooting. 4 clay sporting teams practicing, 20 athletes per team, 300 shots per athlete per week equals 24,000. We have conducted several test shots with our neighbor from various points on the edge of the property, and gunfire can be heard over 4.5 miles away. This is not about guns. We are gun owners. We are not against the Second Amendment. We are not against gun safety and education. We are not against youth sports. We are against the being plopped in our backyard and changing rural agricultural land. Our family and neighbors would be greatly impacted, and they state reasons strips our joy of outdoor activities by constant gunfire, fishing with our grandkids, enjoying sunsets on the new deck we added this year with my father, who is a Vietnam vet, tending to my large garden where we donate to the local food pantry, birthday parties, just had my mom's 80th, Iowa State tailgating, and the like. We have 2 deer stands on our property and concerned about driving out deer and other wildlife, and the hunters that visit our farm yearly will lose their enjoyment in sport. When we are not working, we want to enjoy our weekend on our land. We will be subjected to hearing constant gunfire, so other people, most non-New Virginia residents, can enjoy a sport and get in their cars and leave the noise behind. We will not be afforded that opportunity. Our property and our investment, property values will decrease. Realtor.com shows the property values declined 3.7% or more. What will happen to our property taxes when we clearly do not have the infrastructure to support a business of this size in New Virginia? We earned every dollar it took to buy this property and chose rural Warren County to escape the noise, traffic, and pace of suburban life. We are stewards of the land and don't take government money to do so. We have restored native prairie grasses and flowers and worked with ISU Extension Office to understand what to plant to contribute to the local habitat. We invested thousands this year alone. Our land is an immense wildlife habitat: white-tailed deer, bobcats, bald eagles, pheasants, ducks, herons, owls, etc. What will happen to them? We were provided no notice from the New Pioneer Gun Club. They keep professing to be good neighbors. They did not contact any landowners except those adjacent to the property. They have left us scrambling and rushing for you to make a quick decision. There are rumors of deals being made to sway neighbors' positions. It appears while local skeet teams were informed of the rezoning and possible new location, and to show up at the meeting, the existing gun club members were not notified, per a phone call I had with one of them. Based on the above, I don't trust they will uphold being a good neighbor. We have concerns about the rezoning request and implications of this decision. Having had a crash course and being educated about zoning, we don't see how this gun range request meets the proper zoning. We continue to delve into this with other concerned neighbors and those more educated on Iowa zoning and law. We have concerns about this hurting economic growth and development. This rural residential area will not see new homes and property tax dollars. Future businesses like Wilson's Apple Orchard will not contemplate being within earshot of a gun range. Within the addition of a 4,000 square foot event center attached to a non-for-profit gun club, local for-profit venues will be undercut and their businesses will suffer. There are 6 event wedding venues within 20 minutes of the proposed site. The primary route for most of out-of-town visitors to the proposed gun club will be the I-35 corridor, not through New Virginia heading to Indianola, Norwalk, Cumming, etc. Money will be spent primarily in neighboring counties versus Warren County. The I-35 corridor is an asset for the county. Building a gun range will prevent businesses and rural family home development, which diminishes this asset. In closing, I want to thank you for listening to my concerns and for placing yourself in the shoes of those who you represent. I have to believe that no one would want a gun club near their home. Susan King. Okay, and Cody Stone. Dear members of the Warren County Board of Supervisors, I am writing to express my strong support of the relocation of the New Pioneer Gun Club to 2742 G76 Highway, New Virginia, Iowa. Much of the opposition to this project is being driven by individuals who do not live in our community. These opponents own land in Warren County but reside in the city, where they use their land for private hobby purposes. They are now attempting to influence local residents with inaccurate data and misleading claims in order to generate opposition. These individuals do not share the same daily stake in our schools, neighborhoods, and economy that actual community members do. As a member of this community with children, students, and family who would directly benefit from this project, I believe this facility represents a tremendous opportunity for our area. It will provide safe, family-friendly recreation, youth programs, and a community event center, all without costing taxpayers a dime. And as a C2 zone property, the New Pioneer Gun Club will generate tax revenue for Warren County while providing these public amenities. Our 11-year-old daughter joined the Warren County shotgun sports 2 years ago, and we've seen significant improvement in her social skills, confidence, and responsibility. She's grown to be a leader and a positive role model for others, and this facility would provide her with more local opportunities to connect with peers from other areas of our county. With little or no interest in any other sports, the New Pioneer facility would be an important part of her growth socially. She has also learned valuable skills like basic first aid, CPR, and proper gun handling. Outside of Warren County shotgun sports and our own instruction, she wouldn't have been provided with this opportunity otherwise. The facts are clear. Property values. Waukee has grown into one of the fastest growing cities in the nation, with New Pioneer Gun Club at its center since the 1960s. Subdivisions and even a school have been built right next to the club, and developers are planning new housing on the current site once the club relocates. This proves that property values, safety, and growth are not harmed by the club's presence. Noise. The new facility will be shotgun only and designed with berms, tree lines, and buffers to minimize sound. Local leadership. The New Pioneer Gun Club Board of Directors is made up of community members and neighbors who are invested in our future. Environmental responsibility. New Pioneer Gun Club reclaims and recycles lead shot, maintains wildlife habitats, and has a proven record of stewardship. Also, developers are planning on building low-density housing where the gun club has existed for over 60 years. Safety. The club has operated safely for over 60 years, with families, schools, and subdivisions thriving right next to its current location. Zoning fit. Highway G76 is already designated for future C2 commercial use. Placing the gun club here is consistent with the county's long-term land use plan. Attempting to place it anywhere else outside this corridor would be considered spot zoning, which is poor planning and inconsistent with county policy. The current plan is best and most appropriate location. The New Pioneer Gun Club is a non-for-profit, community-focused organization that supports youth programs, hosts events that boost our local economy, and will provide a new community event space. This decision should be based on facts, not fear, and certainly not on the influence of absentee landowners who live outside our community and are trying to sway local opinion with inaccurate information. I urge you to approve the relocation of the New Pioneer Gun Club and allow our community, our families, and our children to benefit from its presence. Sincerely, Cody Stone. Dear Warren County Board of Supervisors, my name is Ashley Houston, and I am the owner of Red Acre Barn Event Venue. We host weddings and special events at our barn-style venue. I am writing to share my concerns regarding the proposed New Pioneer Gun Club in New Virginia, which would also be a nonprofit event venue that would host weddings. I am concerned about the potential impact it may have on local for-profit venues and small businesses in our community. As a business owner, I fully support community growth and the mission-driven work of nonprofits. However, when a nonprofit operates as a commercial event venue, hosting weddings, receptions, and private gatherings, it effectively competes with established small businesses while benefiting from tax exemptions, public funding, and other subsidies that for-profit venues do not receive. In my opinion, this creates an uneven playing field. For-profit venues most cover full property taxes, insurance, staffing, and compliance costs, while nonprofit venues can offer significantly lower rates. Over time, this will undercut the venues in the area that have invested heavily in their facilities, employ local residents, and contribute tax revenue to the county. The New Pioneer Gun Club has a 4,000 square feet event space, large parking lot, and bridal suites included in their proposed plans. This will be more than a members' gun club. I respectfully ask the board to review how the New Pioneer Gun Club operations will align with its nonprofit mission and to consider policies that ensure fair and balanced competition in our area. Nonprofits should absolutely serve their charitable purposes, but commercial event rentals should not come at the expense of local small businesses. Thank you for your time and consideration. Okay, dear Chair DeCook, I am writing to express my strong support for the relocation of the New Pioneer Gun Club at 2742 G76 Highway, New Virginia, Iowa. Much of the opposition to this project is being driven by individuals who do not live in our community. These opponents own land in Warren County but reside in the city where they use their land for private hobby purposes. They are now attempting to influence local residents with inaccurate data and misleading claims in order to generate opposition. These individuals do not share the same daily stake in our schools, neighborhoods, or economy that actual community members do. As a member of this community with children, students, and family who would directly benefit from this project, I believe this facility represents a tremendous opportunity for our area. It will provide safe, family-friendly recreation, youth programs, and a community event center, all without costing taxpayers a dime. And as a C2 zone property, the New Pioneer Gun Club will generate tax revenue for Warren County while providing these public amenities. The facts are clear. Property values. Waukee has grown into one of the fastest growing cities in the nation, with New Pioneer Gun Club at its center since the 1960s. Subdivisions and even a school have been built right next to the club, and developers are planning new housing on the current site once the club relocates. This proves that property values, safety, and growth are not harmed by the club's presence. Noise, the new facility will be shotgun only and designed with berms, tree lines, and buffers to minimize sound. Local leadership. The New Pioneer Gun Club Board of Directors is made up of community members and neighbors who are invested in our future. Environmental responsibility. New Pioneer Gun Club reclaims and recycles lead shot, maintains wildlife habitats, and has a proven record of stewardship. Also, developers are planning on building low-density housing where the gun club has existed for over 60 years. Safety. The gun club has operated safely over 60 years with family schools and subdivisions thriving right next to its current location. Zoning fit. Highway G76 is already designated for future C2 commercial use. Placing the gun club here is consistent with the county's long-term land use plan. attempting to place it anywhere outside of the corridor would be considered spot zoning, which is poor planning and inconsistent with county policy. The current plan is best and most appropriate location. The New Pioneer Gun Club is a nonprofit, community-focused organization that supports youth programs, hosts events that boost our local economy, and will provide a new community event space. This decision should be based on facts, not fear, and certainly not on the influence of absentee landowners who live outside our community and are trying to sway local opinion with inaccurate information. I urge you to approve the relocation of the New Pioneer Gun Club and allow our community, our families, and our children to benefit from its presence. Sincerely, Corey Olberg. Leland Chandler. Would highly appreciate your consideration of local people opposing the New Virginia Gun Club. I think the noise that close to a cemetery is very rude. We all know that bachelor parties involve drunken drivers, strippers, probably mayhem, certainly. We have lots of seniors that love our area and low-impact driving. I am a recently retired cross-country pipeliner that has been ran off the roadway in Warren County 2 times in the last 5 years, thankfully avoiding damage once on Highway 69 and once on G76. Arrogant drivers have increased recently. I know it and you know it. We do not need the extra burden on the roadways. I have lived in our peaceful community for 62 years. And the final one is, dear supervisors, I am submitting the final compiled petitions of opposition in both electronic and hard copy form regarding the proposed relocation of the New Pioneer Gun Club. The total number of verified signatures now stands at 519. Of these, 365 signatures are residents of New Virginia, Iowa. To place this in context, the most recent U.S. Census lists the population of New Virginia at 498 residents. This means that roughly 73% of the town's population has expressed formal opposition to the project. Such a response is extraordinary and represents an unmistakably strong, unified voice from those who would live in closest proximity to the proposed site. These petitions were circulated openly and voluntarily, reflecting genuine local concern over the safety, environmental, and quality of life impacts this project would bring to our community. The volume and geographic concentration of signatures should, I believe, carry significant weight as the board considers whether this proposal aligns with the intent of Warren County's comprehensive land use plan and the values of its citizens. Thank you for your continued time and careful consideration of this matter. Respectively, Sean Stanga, manager of SK5 LLC. So that is everything I have. Are there any questions?
There's a couple points that were read in some of these emails, so I just, maybe you could clarify one of them. So one of them is that they don't pay property taxes. That was something that came across in an email. But they do, in fact, pay property taxes quite a bit actually up in Dallas County, so maybe that's something the public, just because there's a nonprofit status doesn't mean that they're not contributing. That's probably important
Yes.
to highlight.
Any other questions for Becky? Nope. Seeing none, at this point, I would ask the applicant to step forward, state your name, your address, and the floor will be yours for your presentation.
Good evening, supervisors. My name is Nathan Gibson. I live at 1167 250th Avenue in New Virginia. It's about 2 miles southeast of the proposed site as the crow flies. I'm going to be assisted today by James and Brian. I'll let them introduce themselves real quick.
Yeah, my name is James Faust. I live at 1007 Orchard Hills Drive in Norwalk.
And my name's Brian Melhus. My address is 925 South 95th Street in West Des Moines.
All right. First off, I recognize it's been a long day for everybody up here, everybody back here. So we're going to try and get through this fairly quickly so we can get to the public comment forum. But I do want to take the time to talk about, what this is and what it isn't, and make sure not only you guys but also the folks behind me have an understanding. But we're going to try and get through it pretty quick. So with that, James is going to start us off.
Yeah, perfect. All right, so again, my name is James Faust. I'm on the board out at New Pioneer Gun Club. I've been on board for, I think, 4 years now. We are a 501c7 nonprofit. I do not get paid for what I do. It's all volunteer. The only people that get paid at our facility is our on-site manager and our seasonal workers that we employ throughout the year. Again, it's nonprofit, it's volunteer. The gun club's been located in Waukee since 1960. We host many events throughout the year, particularly the SCTP, which is the Scholastic Shooting Sports Program, which is high school kid age people that shoot out there. Our board is all volunteer. It's made up of 11 members. They are local people to the club. I'm in Warren County. We've got people that are, with where we are right now, located right now, people that live in Waukee, people that live in Dallas Center, so on and so forth. So it just, the board follows where the club goes. So eventually coming down here, if we end up making that move, we'll definitely have folks from the local community be on the board and part of the club moving forward.
Okay. So this is an overview of the current location of the New Pioneer Gun Club. As James said, they've been there since the 60s, and as you can tell, you've got low-density housing that has kind of built up to the north of it. You've got a school that's built about 300 yards to the right of it there, and then high-density houses to the north, and you've got low-density houses to the south that's been built up around this. And why this is important is because James says they're a hosting location for a lot of these scholastic shooting sports, and as you can see, they're kind of getting boxed in there. Now, they can continue to provide value to the community for decades to come, but one of the things we'll talk about here in a bit is the need for growth and why this opportunity is so important for the gun club, the community, and the youth in our community. So the shooting sports, for those who may not be familiar with it, there's all kinds of different disciplines, and we have kids that participate in all of them, and some kids that have a passion in certain aspects of them. With each discipline, you need to have different types of ranges and different types of access for them. So sporting clays, for example, needs a larger land mass for kids to be able to participate in that versus trap or handicap trap, doubles trap. We can participate in a single fixed field that the kids shoot at. And we'll talk a little bit more about in the beginning, but I just wanted you to understand that this isn't just about 5 kids standing in a line, just slowly, shooting clays that are coming out in front of them. We have kids that have different passions, and there are state tournaments and titles and championships for each one of these disciplines, and each one of them are growing quickly in the state of Iowa, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Next thing I want to talk about, this was briefly talked about, are the 2 things that the club really provides. So the first thing is a community focus for community members and people that want to get involved in shooting sports, whether with their family or with their neighbors. The club hosts men's leagues, they have women's leagues, skeet leagues, 5-stand leagues, trap leagues, sporting clays leagues, and this is really for us as a community or us as a family to get out and participate with each other, to have friendly competitions, and this is what really the membership of the club is about. So that's one aspect of the club. In addition, they have competitions, regional competitions, and state competitions for adults that participate in this sport. So that's one primary aspect. The next thing, and probably the most use of the club, is what James talks about, is the Scholastic Clay Target Program. And I'm a coach. I've been a coach since 2018. I'm coach the I-35 trap team. And I can tell you this is one of the most exciting things in my life is watching kids grow up in this program. And this program has really grown in the last few years, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But the managing entity for the Scholastic Clay Target Program is the Iowa DNR. And unfortunately, Iowa DNR representative couldn't make it tonight, but he was at the zoning committee meeting to talk a little bit about the facts of the program. And one of the things I'll tell you, the biggest inhibitor to growth on this sport is access to accessible ranges. If you look across the state, there's only a few ranges. They've been around for a long time, but we continue to get demands from athletes that want to shoot and access to accessible ranges. So you take the I-35 trap team, for example. Here in Warren County, you have the Isaac Walton League that's just south, and that's primarily used for practices from the Warren County shooting sports, and you have Indianola, you have Simpson that shoot out at that. That is a trap-only range. They don't have skeet there. They don't have sporting clays there. They don't have 5-stand there. So the closest places that our athletes in Warren County can shoot those activities is either up at New Pioneer, which has 3 skeet ranges and a sporting clays range currently. New Pioneer is currently supporting everyone in this region. So when I talked about earlier that landlock, that becomes a challenge. Our athletes need more skeet ranges. Our athletes need more sporting clays opportunities to participate in these sports. I-35, we don't have a home range, so some of us coaches pooled together about 4 or 5 years ago. We built a trap range on one of the back of the coach's backyard, and that's where we practice today. And we have one trap range that we're able to do that on. We've been looking for a range for a while. The kids have been working hard, getting grant money and doing other things in order to raise money. And this is an awesome opportunity that came up that will allow us to not only, have a home for that team, but also have access to sporting clays ranges, to skeet ranges in the broader Warren County as well as in this region. So you'll see later in the plan, we're planning on going from 3 to possibly 6 skeet fields that will continue to support this sport, not just for us, but also for Iowa as a whole, because New Pioneer, as you can tell, hosts the current state skeet championship for everybody across the state, and that continues to grow. It's had to turn into a multiple-day event because they're limited by 3 fields. So this presents an opportunity to bring people into Warren County, to have Warren County expand this sport and the opportunity across the state of Iowa. So the other thing is, these kids, some of them you see behind me, it's not like they're just going out and shooting. These kids practice, these kids have discipline, and they work hard. And Warren County has some awesome trophies, so to speak, to hang on the wall. Like young Kistner, state champion for sporting clays in intermediate division in 2024. Libby Faust, 2022 SCTP skeet champion and 2023 collegiate national HOA champion. Owen McNeville from Des Moines Clay Crushers, 2025 men's state skeet champion. And the Indianola varsity team was the 2023 state squad champion. So this area has some awesome dedicated kids, and for every single one of those names that I just read off, there's 3 or 4 more kids that are coming up behind them that want that opportunity, that love this sport. And there is a dozen coaches standing behind me that volunteer and spend time with these kids out on these ranges to make that possible for them. So that's the state SCTP, the second half of what New Pioneer really supports. So next we're going to go over the project overview. As James talked about earlier, we're proposing to relocate from New Pioneer Gun Club in Waukee to New Virginia, Iowa. And this is a picture of the current location. You'll see come and go on I-35 there. That is the proposed land. And at this point, I'm going to pass it over to Brian. He's going to talk a little bit more about the request.
Hi, my name's Brian. I'm an attorney here in Iowa. I'm not here in my role as an attorney today. I'm not being paid for my time. I'm here as a member of the New Pioneer Gun Club because I believe in its mission. And fortunately, there are several attorneys that are members of the club, and we did take a close look at the zoning requirements and eligibility for land use, and I just wanted to provide a couple of comments and some context for that. So as we were going through and looking at the sort of menu of options for zoning changes or rezoning, you all made it very easy for us. Last year, you enacted the Warren County Comprehensive Land Use Plan, and as part of that, there's a zoning matrix, zoning compatibility matrix. And if you go through that zoning matrix, the zoning matrix is intended to serve as the basis for rezoning application. So you look at that matrix and determine whether the future use is compatible with the current zone. The land at issue is currently zoned A1, and if you look at the zoning matrix, it is entirely compatible with all future land uses. So you see on the slide on the screen here, A1 is compatible, that's what the C stands for, with all future uses. So from there, we looked at the full range, including A1 special use permit, which seemed on its face pretty applicable to a shooting range, right? But it wouldn't allow us to engage in the very important public-facing features, the commercial, nonprofit features of the club, and that's critical to the nonprofit mission. So we had to go beyond the A1 special use permit, and we determined that C2 was the most appropriate, highest and best use for this land. So if you look at the current zoning ordinances, and we're looking at 4111, sub 1, and subparts A, E, and M, it's Alpha, Echo, and Mike, we believe all three of those sections support the rezoning application here. In particular, section M provides for recreational services that are adjacent to highway commercial districts. And then subpart M is any use that is considered similar or compatible by the zoning administrator. And you heard from Becky earlier today that she believes that it is. And I think that's pretty conclusive evidence, right? Those two things, it's compatible and it fits within the C2 requirements for the use that we're looking for. Another element to this is that there's strong precedent, right, for rezoning in this area. Not only has this area been designated, and that's the purple area on the map, as an opportunity overlay zone. That was part of last year's comprehensive plan use map, which allows for flexible future use of rezoning. But there are 10 or more properties along the corridor between I-35 and New Virginia along G76 that have already been rezoned from A1 to C2. So this is not a circumstance where we're asking for anything unusual from a zoning perspective. We think it's very straightforward, and we would encourage you to approve the application on the merits. And in addition to all of the other public comments that you're going to hear today, we take the comments on both sides of this issue very, very seriously, and we want to be good neighbors. We intend to be. So with that, I will turn it back to Nathan.
Thank you, Brian. I think this slide was just an overview of the county goals and the strategies, as well as the rezoned parcels down at the bottom there. So, okay. So we'll go really quickly through the proposed facilities and services. Again, I briefly spoke about this earlier, but the project plan calls for bringing a state-of-the-art skeet, trap, 5-stand, sporting clays, and another thing, an Olympic bunker trap fields to the area, which is really exciting, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. A 4,000-foot clubhouse that can be used by community members, retail shop, compliant parking, managers' quarters, multiple shooting fields with pergolas, and thoughtful landscaping with rock driveways, and we'll get into that. One of the things I do want to talk about are the hours of operations and the guns, ammo allowed. Again, this is a shotgun-only club. Pistol rifles are prohibited, not allowed, and we don't allow shots larger than 7.5, which becomes important when we talk about the noise aspect of things. 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Now, based off community input, we made some amendments, which you'll see up on the screen, which is closed on holidays, and instead of shooting from 7 a.m. to dark, 9 a.m. to dusk is the plan for that, based off some town halls and some community input that we had. So this is an overview of the project plan. As you can see across the bottom, we have our skeet and trap fields. They kind of focus towards the east, and those safety areas that you see is the shot fall area, the maximum distance that the shot fall can go. And those are kind of directed towards the center, which becomes important later when you're doing lead cleanup and things like that. James will talk about that a little bit, but it's really concentrating that area in that location. You'll see up in the top left-hand corner is where we have the event center plan as well as the manager's quarters. And then off to the south is where the sporting clays fields are planned to be. These I'm just going to breeze through. They're part of your packet. You guys saw these, but it's the architecture plans for the community event center, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Managers' quarters and warehouses. And again, as James said, they have a manager that lives on site that maintains the ground, ensures safeties, manages safety, security, things like that. The trap and skeet field layouts. So again, trap and skeet, you can have single field that supports both types of disciplines. And like I said before, the closest range to here that anybody has is New Pioneer up in Waukee. They have 4 ranges, and those are really shared regionally because there's not many around. Afton has one up at 3 Mile, I think is what they call it, the shooting range up there. They have one skeet range there, which is primarily where Warren County, Interstate 35, Southeast Warren, Warren County Shooting Sports, that's where our kids go all the way out to Afton to do our skeet competitions, or up at New Pioneer. And also keep in mind that that's used at the collegiate level as well. So Simpson does, that's where they need to do their skeet shooting as well. So the sport continues to grow, and we continue to have demand, and the real need for this facility is to expand access to those ranges. So the International Olympic Bunker Trap Range layout, this is really unique because, quite frankly, Iowa doesn't have one. In fact, the closest location is St. Louis. And later, if you have questions about this, we actually have an Olympic bunker trap coach in the audience. But in the interest of time, we'll move through this. But this is absolutely, I think, an awesome opportunity for this area. This is going to bring a lot of regional and national visitors, as well as the sporting clays as well, because it will be a world-class sporting clays range. But really excited about this opportunity at New Pioneer to bring this capability. 5 stand. This is a brand new sport in SCTP about, I think, 2 years ago, and you just see all kinds of demand for it for athletes. It's really fun. They're able to sit in fixed position. It's kind of like sporting clays, but they get to shoot different type of clays going through. And New Pioneer currently has heated 5 stand to allow for kids to practice and hone their skills, even in the colder months. But obviously, when there's 5 feet of snow or whatever on the ground, you can't put those targets out on the ground for them to shoot at in the snow. So, but it is a growing sport, and this is an awesome opportunity for us as well to provide that not only to our athletes in Warren County, but also at the state level, because there's not many of these at the state. Sporting clays ranges. New Pioneer currently has one, and it's heavily used. The plan for this is to expand this to 3 different type of ranges, which is really going to bring not only athletes from around the state to be able to come and participate here, but I think also regionally and nationally for Warren County to kind of be spotlight for this really unique and state-of-the-art sporting clays range, which is going to drive more people to our area. So we're excited about that. The traffic management plans, again, you'll see on there, there's parking spots planned, so we're not obviously causing any issues for my neighbors and folks that are dealing with road and congestion issues. So noise mitigation measures, again, not going to stand here and tell you that no one ever hears shotguns, but I will tell you that with the 7.5 shot that I talked about earlier, it's significantly quieter without pistols and rifles as well. And the club also invests heavily in building berms and other things to be as limited impact as possible on the neighbors in the area. Safety, compliance, and regulatory, I'll tell you, SCTP and the kids trap is the safest sport in the state. When you look at everything else from wrestling to football to baseball, there is an inherent training by these coaches you know, to make sure that these kids are doing the right thing. We're always with them. We have rules, no more than, you know, 5 kids to a coach. I'm lucky, I'm blessed. I got like 8 coaches. You know, I got more coaches than I do have ranges. But it's one of the safest sports there is. And obviously, as a member of the club, you have to follow safety protocols, agree to certain safeties, and also go through training. So. I'm going to hand it over to James to talk a little bit about the environment, landscape, wildlife, and stewardship. But I would just like to say, remember that this is a nonprofit. It's, you know, made up of people of our community that we love the land just as much as our neighbors do. And I think the biggest thing is trying to keep taking care of that and make it available, you know, for future generations. So with that, I'll hand it off to James.
Yep, thank you, Nathan. Yeah, so a big topic that's kind of, well, I wouldn't say a big topic, but a question that's been asked periodically from us is the lead mitigation piece of it. Our current facility, we've been there since 1960, and we've operated that facility pretty much 365 days a year, so there's a lot of lead being thrown downrange on that. Is what we do is periodically, depending on how many targets we throw in a year, but we typically every 2 to 5 years hire a contractor to come in and clean up the lead mess or the lead that's fallen on the ground. So lead shot is different from rifles and bullets, to where it's being shot up in the air, it falls on the ground, and it sits on the ground. It doesn't get dug into the soil like a rifle bullet would or something like that. So it's all on the topsoil. And we hire a licensed contractor to come in, they scrape that up. They bring in like a small milling machine, kind of like what you see on Gold Diggers. I don't know if you guys have ever watched that show, but it gets screened and run through a machine like that. It's toted up in totes. They weigh about 2,000 pounds, and then it's recycled. A lot of times it's used as reloads for more target shells or something like that. So we do try and stay on top of that. As part of our packet, that we sent in to zoning after the zoning meeting, we put together a memorandum that outlines what we plan on doing as far as mapping out our shotfall zones. So those are identified to help with A, tracking the frequency, and then B, being able to identify specific areas to go in and clean up. So yeah, I can't stress enough that the people that work out at the club or are involved with it are everyday people. They're outdoorsmen, they're businessmen, they're just, you know, come from all walks of life, and nobody wants to leave the land in a mess. It's not like we're gonna come in and you're gonna see some nuclear waste site or something like that. The people do genuinely care about it, and we take that part of it very seriously. We don't want to be contaminating groundwater or anything like that, so we do what we're supposed to do and take care of it and clean up the mess that's left behind. So just to take it one step further too, we are, you know, currently in the process of leaving Waukee, and this has been mentioned a couple times. They plan on putting low density housing in there. That would not be possible if there was contaminated groundwater, if there was contaminated soils. And the city of Waukee is not paying to clean that up. That's a responsibility between us and the purchaser of it. So.
Okay, keep moving us along here. So we briefly talked about the facility is a nonprofit. One of the things New Pioneer really focuses on is, you know, providing that to other nonprofits for them to accomplish their mission. So you'll see, and if you look back at the history, in fact, I think, you know, a couple weeks ago they had a fundraiser for Ronald McDonald House, you know, that they can rent out the facility and have a sporting clay shoot or have a trap shoot or have a skeet shoot. To allow these nonprofits to continue to raise funds for their cause. In addition, the facilities used by other corporations alike that bring people in the air, like Master Builders of Iowa, you know, will have corporate and team hosting events out there. So the club's available for that as well. Education and conservation initiatives, this is big, you know, to my heart. So I am a, you know, range safety officer. I do help with hunters education. Obviously, I'm a coach. And this facility really help in the area for things like that, hosting youth hunters, education safety courses, range safety officer courses, 4-H, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, other things like that. Can utilize this facility, whether it be the building or whether it be the club as well, to further their mission, which is really part of New Pioneer's mission, is really education and conservation as well. So lessons by national clinics and experts. I think, you know, as I talked to you earlier, we have some awesome athletes on these teams in Warren County and the greater area, bringing in coaches and experts from other disciplines, like, you know, the Olympic coach we have over here, to be able to come in and teach our kids and instruct our kids, right? We have the Simpson coach or the Grandview coach come out to our practices sometimes and be guest coach and help with our kids. This is an awesome opportunity for them, as well as those athletes that are moving on and want to coach themselves and want to, you know, maybe earn some money doing private coaching lessons, right? We have several athletes at Simpson and Grandview and William Penn that are amazing shooters and can teach and possibly, you know, earn money from mentoring our younger folks and teaching them as well. So the economic and growth, I touched on this a little bit earlier, but I do want to just, you know, repeat this. This has an opportunity to, you know, bring people into our area, bring people into our community, whether it be regional and national sporting clays competitions with the world-class sporting range, regional national ATA shoots, the state SCTP championships are obviously happening at New Pioneer today and would continue, and collegiate championships. So one thing I want to point out is why these things are going on. We need to feed people, right? We need to have concession stands. So it's an awesome opportunity for local food truck vendors or even, you know, your local National Honor Society group, your 4-H, or the local band to come out and actually sell food to people that are there and raise money for their own causes. And New Pioneer doesn't charge them anything to do that. So that's another awesome opportunity with that. And then finally, public education and outreach programs, right? These facilities in this location, especially the event center, can be used for things like father-daughter dances, fundraising galas, Christmas, community Christmas parties, which you'll see some pictures that we have here in a bit, where New Pioneer does this today, as well as community poker club and community pool club, right? And these buildings, they have, you know, poker stands and pool tables and things as well that really help bring the community together and allow for community engagement. So. And then finally, community event center. I just want to, you know, kind of touch on something that was talked about earlier. This you know, club and organization isn't looking to compete with the local wedding venues, right? This is talking about a nominal fee for maybe somebody that doesn't have $4 or $5 grand, you know, to pay for a local, you know, wedding venue. So it allows people to use the facility for reunions, bachelor parties, graduation parties, birthdays, retirements, fundraising events at nominal fees. And it's really meant to be a community amenity, and that's what that's about. So in closing, you know, this New Pioneer Gun Club and this proposal is about an investment in our youth and our community's future. The club is led by community members and neighbors, and it's for community members and neighbors. It's a nonprofit that partners with other nonprofits to provide economic, recreational, and academic opportunities to Warren County residents for generations to come and our youth. So I would respectfully request that the board consider approval of the rezoning from C2. And with that, thank you.
Just have one housekeeping matter. After the public comments have wrapped up and before the board breaks for its deliberation or discussion, we would like to reserve, you know, a brief period of time to respond or rebut to some of the comments that we hear.
Okay. Thanks. All right, we are in public hearing. I would just ask that it be ordered. I don't know who would like to go first, but come up, state your name, your address, and 3 minutes.
Now, before my time starts, can I have a couple housekeeping questions answered?
Sure.
My name's Joel Templeman. I'm an attorney with the Petticord Lillis Law Firm, 4949 Westtown Parkway, West Des Moines. here on behalf of SK5 LLC, one of the adjacent property owners immediately adjacent to this tract being asked to be rezoned. So before my time starts, I just want to make sure that I understand what is included in the record this evening, okay? Because that'll be critical for us going forward potentially. So want to confirm that everything that was submitted to the record during the P and Z meeting has carried forward to you folks, correct? Okay, okay. And one of
Don,
the-
if you want to take his questions, we'll let our council address your legal questions.
Okay, so the entirety of the comprehensive plan and the zoning ordinance is part of the record, correct? All right. Secondly, so there's a coalition of property owners in opposition of this request. And they've put together a PowerPoint presentation that has been submitted to the board. But given the fact that we're only allowed 3 minutes per individual to present a whole lot of information, we weren't given the opportunity to present a PowerPoint. I would make a request that our PowerPoint be shared in this forum. But, so I'd ask you for that consideration.
It's in the record. I've read it. Has the board read it?
Yes,
It's part of the record. I don't.
we've seen the presentation.
Okay. And my last, well, I guess that's my last question. So I will try to get through this in 3 minutes.
If you need a little longer, that's fine.
Just don't buzz me, okay? All right. Once again, I'm Joel Templeman, and this proposed rezoning is contradictory to Iowa law. Iowa Code Chapter 335.4 states in relevant part that the Board of Supervisors may divide the county into districts, and within such districts, it may regulate and restrict the use of buildings, structures, or land. Iowa Code Chapter 335.5 states in relevant part that the regulations shall be made in accordance with the comprehensive plan and designed to preserve the availability of agricultural law. This is a requirement under Iowa law. This is not a suggestion. This is what's required under the Iowa Code. At the beginning of this meeting this evening, it was read into the record that the zoning department had conclusions of law or findings of facts. But what's missing is any analysis or any supporting materials. They are just conclusions alone. So in addition to this rezoning request being contradictory to Iowa law, it's also inconsistent with the Warren County Comprehensive Plan, which was recently adopted in 2024 after 14 to 18 months of studies, consultations, considerable expense. The comprehensive plan directs that the Warren County staff, the Board of Supervisors, and the Zoning Commission use the plan to make decisions about development proposals. The comprehensive plan requirement was imposed to prevent piecemeal and haphazard zoning. It further requires, the comprehensive plan requirement is intended to ensure that the Board of Supervisors acts rationally rather than arbitrarily in exercising their delegated zoning authority. As a longstanding rural community and county, special emphasis has been placed on preservation of agricultural land and open space. Page 21 of the comp plan indicates that the future land use plan is meant to guide decision-making regarding annexation and zoning. The comprehensive plan should be consulted whenever the county is amending a zoning code regulation and every time a property is rezoned. This is to ensure the change is consistent with the goals, policy recommendations, and land use designations of the plan. The future land use map, which is on page 30 of the plan, specifically identifies this land as future agricultural land. So that is the future land use map in the comp plan. That's the guiding map. That's the vision that took 14 to 18 months to finalize. That's in your plan. Page 26 of the comp plan identifies key future land issues and states agricultural land is a critical piece of the state's economy and Warren County's culture and should be preserved whenever possible. By allowing this rezoning, the Warren County's culture will most definitely not be preserved. Page 59 of the comp plan. Can I have 2 more minutes? Thank you. Or don't time me. I'll be brief. Page 59 of the comprehensive plan indicates that the dominant land use for future land use remains agricultural. The land use goals and strategies identified on page 63 of the comp plan discourages urban sprawl in Warren County by limiting leapfrog development, promoting orderly growth within unincorporated cities, and adhering to the future land use plan when reviewing rezoning requests. The proposed rezoning violates all of those goals. And with regard to the Board of Supervisors, each board member should have a copy of the comprehensive plan and be familiar with the major goals and objectives described therein. And in wrapping up, the proposed rezoning is also inconsistent with the zoning ordinance. Section 4111 identifies C2 district regulations and states that the C2 district is intended to provide for the commercial and highway service uses required to serve the general needs of the county and the highway traveling public. Gun ranges are not identified as principal permitted uses within 41.11. Now, there's a catch-all arbitrary provision later in there, which I believe is what's being used to bring this forward. But general commercial highway service districts are intended to permit a wide variety of retail, service, some light industrial uses catering to both the local community and travelers on major roadways. Permitted uses often include auto sales and repair, hotels, restaurants, grocery stores, professional offices, and warehousing. Gun ranges are not of the type or character contemplated for the general commercial highway services district. And this type of use would deter future development of traditional commercial uses as contemplated in your own comprehensive plan. My final thought is just to address something that was presented by the applicant in their presentation. You know, several assertions have been made this evening and then in their materials that this proposed rezoning is consistent with county precedent along G76. In their materials, they say that there are 14 other properties along G76 that are zoned C2, but they haven't provided the specific locations of these properties. So according to the Warren County Beacon records, only 8 properties along G76 are zoned C2, 6 of which are immediately adjacent to and east of I-35. The 8 commercially zoned properties vary in size from 0.38 acres to 8.86 acres and include certain retail, light manufacturing, light industrial uses. The applicant is proposing to rezone 146.83 acres, 146.83 acres to C2 for gun range and retail uses, which is enormously greater in size and scope than any of the aforementioned C2 uses along G76. So for all these reasons and all the reasons that I set forth in my letter to the board from October 1st, we respectfully request that you deny the application that's before you tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Trevor Swinefoos. I'm an attorney with the Schindler Anderson Law Firm in West Des Moines, Iowa. I represent Dan and Susan King, who live in New Virginia, approximately 1 mile from the proposed rezoning area. We strongly oppose this rezoning request and urge the board to deny it. In your materials should be a letter that I drafted to you. I want to be clear that this is illegal spot zoning. Just like in the Little case cited in my letter, where the Iowa Supreme Court struck down a nearly identical rezoning of agricultural land to allow for a gun range. In this case, spot zoning has occurred or will occur if approved. Spot zoning is when a zoning ordinance creates a small island of property with restrictions on its use different from those imposed on the surrounding properties. This is very clearly happening. This is 146 acres around other agricultural ground. This would be an island of property surrounded by agricultural ground. This is clearly spot zoning. The gun club and the planning and zoning committee have found that this is not spot zoning somehow. They've argued, the gun club has argued that the site lies within an opportunity overlay corridor, that there are 14 other parcels already rezoned Z2. As Joel has mentioned, that's actually 8 parcels, 6 of which are immediately adjacent to the interstate, and that this use is consistent with planning goals of the county. A highway corridor that includes isolated pockets of C2 zoning doesn't automatically make any new C2 zoning part of a pattern. Overlay corridors do not override land use designations, and Z2 zoning for a gun club in this area is inconsistent with both the zoning compatibility matrix and the future land use map. The presence of other C2 agriculture or C2 parcels along G76 doesn't change the fact that this rezoning would create a high-impact, non-agricultural use, the gun range, surrounded by agriculture and residential properties. That's the very definition of spot zoning. None of the 8 parcels that are zoned for commercial have a similar use. The end result of this property is rezoned is an island. This by definition is spot zoning. Applying the 3-factor test from Little that I've included in my letter, this is not germane to the police powers of the county. The club claims that it promotes safety through training. These general benefits cannot be tied to this particular location. Unlike public schools or hospitals, the gun club is not an essential public service and it can be located elsewhere. The property is not reasonably distinct from any neighboring properties. There's no peculiar adaptability that justifies singling this property out for a gun range as opposed to the properties to the north, south, east, and west of it. At the end of the day, this property is common ag ground, nearly identical to the properties on all sides. The thing that makes this property different than the properties around it is that this property was for sale. The opportunity to purchase this property by the gun club doesn't make it reasonably distinct from the properties around it, justifying its rezoning. And finally, I would echo what Joel had just said about the inconsistencies with the comprehensive plan. Those 3 prongs of the test from the Little case require that the board deny this approval, and for those reasons, I ask the board to deny this rezoning application.
Thank you.
I'm assuming I get 3 minutes.
You do.
All right. Good evening. My name is,
Oh, thank you. I was sorry, Michaela, I was gonna say, can you give us your address and name?
oh,
Sorry.
yeah, it's in
Perfect.
here, yeah. Good evening. My name is Susan King, and I live at 3770 Wilson Street, 1 mile away. I support the Second Amendment, and I support youth sports. Tonight's meeting is not about either. I want to walk you through a timeline that reveals, in my opinion, a pattern of deliberate deception and exclusion by the New Pioneer Gun Club, actions that have left our community in the dark and at risk. August 28th, while Gun Club board members were posting on social media something big coming to Warren County, and skeet teams were already celebrating the news, the residents of New Virginia received nothing but a vague blurb that was buried in the local paper that included an incorrect date for the zoning meeting. No calls, no visits, no letters from the club. Only a handful of adjacent landowners received notice at the end of August and were left to piece together the news themselves. September 10th, at the zoning meeting, the Gun Club unveiled grand plans for large tournaments, thousands of visitors, and touted economic growth. They brought outside speakers and painted a rosy picture, but their claims lacked real evidence. Meanwhile, many residents still had no idea what was happening. After this meeting, when I tried to inform our community, I was accused of spreading misinformation, even though my facts came straight from the club's own presentation. The I-35 skeet coach downplayed the scale, focusing instead on youth sports while ignoring the reality. What was presented was a massive member-only facility with events nearly every weekend. October 2nd, as we educated more of the community and opposition rose, the club finally held a non-sanctioned town hall. Just 5 days before this meeting, and the invitation was only posted on Facebook, leaving many still unaware. They made minor changes, hours, days, but our real concerns about noise, property values, wildlife, and environmental impact were met with vague answers and little compassion. We were told we could make cupcakes for tournaments, as if that would make up for the loss of peace and security. Throughout this process, the club had time to notify the skeet community, they had time to build elaborate plans and renderings, they had time to prepare presentations, they had time to negotiate a multi-million-dollar real estate transaction, they had time to organize speakers. When questioned why they didn't engage the community earlier, Mr. Faust said, and I'm paraphrasing, "I am sorry. That's on me. This is a volunteer position, and I have a full-time job." The New Pioneer Gun Club board and members had time, but they didn't have time to care about the families whose lives will be upended. This timeline is not just a series of missed opportunities. By all appearances, it was a calculated effort to keep residents in the dark, avoid opposition, and silence those most affected. Board, I implore you to oppose this. A decision in favor of putting a sport, a hobby, a pastime over member-only club above people's lives and everything, and their futures. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. My name is Sarah Hoover, and I have lived at 23344 38th Avenue, approximately 1.7 miles from the proposed site, for almost 28 years. My husband and I both grew up in the New Virginia I-35 community. We graduated from Interstate 35. We own 35 acres and run a small farming operation, and we're raising our daughter there. New Pioneer is promising to bring in revenue in the form of increased property tax, sales tax, and the money they think visitors will bring into the local area. The nearest amenities, like hotels and restaurants, are approximately 10 miles away in Clark County. After that, you would have to travel north back to Des Moines to the Jordan Creek area, approximately 25 miles away. Come and go and subway would get increased traffic, but that's about it. In all the years that the club was at their current location, outside of Waukee, before the town grew around them, how many businesses opened because they were there? How many did they attract? If the goal is to grow our community economically, then I believe the gun club and their location would hinder that growth. If you want the town and the area of New Virginia to grow, we should be looking at residential growth first. New Virginia could be in a prime spot to be able to court new homes being built. The town should be looking at opportunities to annex and develop land for housing. There is a need for affordable new housing. I'm not talking about the big fancy houses, but small starter homes that would attract young families that are getting priced out of other areas. That would increase the tax base for both New Virginia and Warren County. It would fuel natural commercial development with increased local consumer spending, the need for local services, and possible job creation from those new businesses to serve a growing population. With this approach, businesses would naturally spring up due to supply and demand, not be shoehorned in. This is more of a long-term approach to growth rather than relying on visitors who would have to travel past their destination and drive into town. Norwalk is a prime example of residential growth fueling commercial growth. I've worked in residential construction my entire life, and I've seen this same scenario time and time again. If their zoning is approved, it will come at a cost. I'm not talking about what they're spending on the land or the development of their land for purposes. What's it going to cost their neighbors in real estate value? And what's it going to cost our community and taxpayers? New Pioneer has been in their current location for 60 years. The land in the Waukee that they own has become more lucrative as housing than commercial real estate, so they decided it's time to sell. How long is that going to take here? New Pioneer follows EPA's best practices, but who ensures that? There's no governmental or regulatory oversight, testing, or reporting on the environment. They are self-policing. They're only as good as their board. As part of their sale in Waukee, there was a phase 1 and a phase 2 report commissioned by their buyer. The soil results are contaminated by lead. Over 70,000 parts per million. May I finish? I'll be short. Over 70,000 parts per million in one location. That much lead contamination in the soil is classified as hazardous waste. The phase 2 report shows that 3 areas are over 400 parts per million. However, the new standard residential lead remediation for the EPA is now 200 parts per million. If you use the current EPA standards, that adds 4 additional locations that would need remediation. Per the phase 2 report, quote, "These findings confirm that the historical operation of the New Pioneer Gun Club has resulted in localized lead impact sites to soils, particularly in the proximity to the active shooting stations. The phase 2 report recommends that further testing be done, enroll in an Iowa DNR program, and explore funding through the Iowa Brownsfield program, which may provide grants, i.e. taxpayer money.
Okay, thank you.
Cost would be about $3 million to remediate six acres on their current site. They're planning to move in on pristine
Ma'am, thank you.
farm ground.
We asked them to address the soil. Do you want to address the soil?
Oh, I have a copy of the phase 2 report. May I submit that into record?
You can give one to Don back there.
Our attorney at the back table.
Please state your name and address, please.
My name is Dusty Chaplin. I live at 23680 30th Avenue. I live within a mile of this projected site. I want to start with the fact that my husband and I are pro-gun and pro-Second Amendment. I have been with the Des Moines Police Department for over 13 years, and understand the benefits of gun clubs like these, especially for our youth. We have 2 little girls ourselves who attend I-35, and I like the thought of having options like these, but for us specifically, I don't like the option with the sacrifice of their peaceful home. And for our family, having this site so close to our home would disrupt our serenity at home in more ways than one. As a first responder, I've encountered endless critical incidents, including being involved directly in 3 shootings in my career, with the last being within a year. I don't speak on this topic lightly, as it's taken me until just a few months ago to accept the aftermath of these incidents on me personally. I have found my kryptonite resulting from these shootings that throws my body and mind into flight or fight comes from loud, abrupt noises that may resemble that of gunshots. Since this proposal was made known to our community, I've listened to all the pros and cons. I've heard all the chatter about how trap shooting isn't that loud. You won't even know what's happening. You can just learn to ignore it. I'm not naive, nor are the rest of the people close to this site on the truth of how loud this truly will be for us close by. I'm no stranger to shooting, all types of firearms, but becoming startled, instantly angry, sweaty, and anxious from one of our puppy gates accidentally falling on our hardwood floor, creating a clap, is nothing compared to the noise this will produce. So frankly, what I say to all those justifying downplaying just the one concern of many when they aren't going to be the ones enduring it, unless you are willing to come up here, provide your address yourself, and fight for this to come to your backyard, respectfully take a back seat. I can't speak for everyone else within this range, I can't speak for everyone else within close range to this site, but in speaking for myself and my family, this will turn our dream home that we have worked so hard for, to start our lives, to raise our family, and someday retire in, far away from the crazy of droves of people to provide our littles with a safe and peaceful childhood, will be turned into a living hell, quite frankly. Unfortunately, a lot of it probably because of me, because I will be a wreck all the time. I moved out here to stay away from my work, not to have it moved into my backyard. What I'm asking is simply this: please don't let what those of us directly affected say tonight fall on deaf ears. I'm asking to strip away the politics, strip away the money aspect, strip away whatever you might be instructed to do, and please look at the human factor in this situation. The effect we are point blank telling you it will have on people's lives, well-being, and livelihood are real. I don't dispute this gun club can be positive. I love everything that it has to offer. The argument here is this the right location? And it just simply isn't. I'm praying that each of you will put yourselves in our shoes, and if it were you and your families, make the decision on this that allows you to sleep at night with a free conscience. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Tim Tibbetts, 23376 25th Avenue, will be about 3/4 of a mile from the proposed site. We raise and show sheep. We sell sheep all over the nation. We have produced state fair champions. Everybody says the sheep will get used to the noise. When I walk out and find my $5,000 ram with a broken neck because he crashed into the wall, who's going to pay for that? Also, we're going to hear a lot from all these young people wearing their uniforms. We put 2 kids through Interstate 35. I was 4-H leader for 10 years. I coached youth baseball. I was on the I-35 Booster Club. I've spent thousands of hours promoting youth of Warren County. I get it. I'm not against the program. Everything they say I'm sure is true. However, as Mr. Gibson said, over 300 kids are going to be in this program. They're all going to graduate and move away, and they're never going to set foot on that property again. We're going to have the state tournament here where hundreds of shooters will show up on the weekend. We're going to hear over 25,000 rounds of ammunition a week, possibly even growing, because Mr. Gibson said this was a growing sport. Every single person, except for the manager who's going to go in his house, is going to get in their car and they're going to drive away. Those of us that live around that property are going to hear thousands of rounds of ammunition being shot every day for the rest of our lives. Now, if you didn't hear me, I'm going to say we are going to hear thousands of rounds of ammunition being shot every day for the rest of our lives. My wife works from home. She's going to have to keep the window shut. That's going to increase our costs. So anyway, yes, we are opposed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Smith, and I live on 3209 G76 Highway, half a mile from the proposed site. So we live there. We're not absent landowners. I'm an environmental engineer with many years of water quality experience. We moved from Des Moines in 2007 when we purchased our acreage because we wanted to raise our family in 4-H. Right now, we have sheep, and in the past, my husband has also raised cow-calves. I oppose the proposed rezoning for the following very important reasons: environmental and health concerns. With the number of teams and tournaments expected, about 1.4 million pellets per year could be used, assuming a very generous and conservative figure of 98 to 99% that the pellets or the lead in the pellets could be recovered. What is going to happen to the remaining 1 to 2% of the lead that is left in the soil and the environment? This accounts for about 900 to 1,700 pounds of lead each year. Then using the GIS and stream stats, I can see that the site drains to the east to an intermittent stream, which drains to an unnamed tributary to Walnut Creek. There are 2 other drainage ditches in the property that drain southwest and southeast, but most of it ends in Walnut Creek. The site will cover most of Hunter Farms, and they will be shooting from the west to the east, as we saw, into the watershed of an intermittent stream that drains east to Walnut Creek. This is considered a water of the state and possibly a water of the United States. And what about the Clean Water Act? Extensive tile system has been installed in the property that outlets in the intermittent stream and also outlet north, northwest, southwest, south of the property and southeast onto adjacent properties that are enrolled in CRP and others in crop and hay production. The CDC says that lead affects the health of children and adults. In children, causes brain and nerve damage, developmental behavioral problems, and lower IQ, and in adults, causes nerve disorders, memory problems, high blood pressure, etc. Because of this, the EPA is established that the maximum contaminant level for lead in drinking water is 0 because there is no safe level. And that in 1975, the EPA banned lead from gasoline and also from household paint in 1978. Their current facility in Waukee is listed in the DNR database as a contaminated site, as a CERCLA pre-remedial, meaning that additional reclamation due to the soil samples that my neighbor explained earlier exceeding the state levels. This will further drive down the cost of my property and my neighbors for the gain of a few, if allowed. I beg you to please vote no for this proposed gun club. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Wade Peterson, 3501 Wilson Street, New Virginia. I own 370 acres bordering the proposed gun club for a half mile on their east and south property lines. I also own a small business in the New Virginia community. My family purchased our farm in 2017 due in large part to the seclusion and peacefulness of the area. I hope you've all seen the map showing who all would hear the gunfire from the proposed location. I conducted that testing with the help of my family and neighbors. I fired over 60 rounds of 12-gauge trap loads on various days with varying wind conditions and speeds. I can guarantee you on most days, everyone in New Virginia and anyone within 2.5 miles will hear the gunfire as far out as 4+ miles on calm days. Just this last weekend in West Des Moines, I was about 5 miles from the gun club. I could hear the gunfire then. I checked to make sure it was coming from the club, got a little closer, and yeah, it was coming from New Pioneer. Our farm is adjacent to the gun club. We'll hear daily gunfire from every corner of our property. We have invested heavily into our horse training and breeding business on our farm with trails where we ride and train young horses, literally within feet of the property boundary of the proposed gun club. The club says they'll bring economic development to the area. They point to Waukee as an example. Yet if you look closely at the fastest growing city in the fastest growing county in the state, there's almost an island of underdeveloped land around the club today, almost as if waiting for the club to leave. The closest restaurant to the gun club, McDonald's, almost 1.5 miles away. It's hard to find a place in Waukee with a restaurant that far away. There's an RV park adjacent to the club. The number of bad reviews based on disruptive gunfire starting as early as 7 a.m. when the website says they open at 9 is astounding. And the gun club has suggested to New Virginia that an RV park would be a great companion business to the gun club. I'd say only if the gun club patrons who don't mind hearing gunfire are plentiful enough to keep that business open. Housing exists near the club, but not nearly to the degree it does everywhere else in Waukee. I've visited with numerous homeowners within 2 miles of the club. They're all excited to hear the club may be moving out of Waukee, but they say they wouldn't wish it on anyone as a neighbor. Waukee has grown despite the gun club, not because of it. Warren County is not the fastest growing county in Iowa. New Virginia certainly isn't the fastest growing city in Iowa. Can we afford to hamstring our community with a business that no one wants to live or work next to? How many families will choose not to live in or move to the area because of the audible gunfire? What's the economic impact of that? If Warren County and New Virginia want future commercial or residential growth, this is not the type of business you start that development with. It will stagnate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Wade.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Sean Stenga at 2101 Wyoming Street, New Virginia. I am the managing member of SK5 LLC, which holds our family farm immediately adjacent to the proposed gun range site. I'd like to begin by clarifying a persistent misconception. SK5 LLC is not a commercial hunting operation. It was formed only for standard legal and insurance protection, as is common among many family farms. The registered agent listed out of town simply provides mail and compliance services. My family and I are Iowa residents, and we plan to build our permanent home on this land, exactly less than 500 yards from the proposed sporting clays range. This is not a remote investment. It is where my wife and I intend to raise our 3 young children and continue the stewardship of the land we've worked so hard to acquire and maintain. Working with neighboring landowners, we conducted a GIS overlay of petition data, geocoding each signer's verified address onto the Ring of Fire noise impact model previously presented to this board. That analysis clearly demonstrates that the overwhelming majority of opposition petitions originate from within or immediately adjacent to the Ring of Fire boundary. Of the 519 total, 365 petitions are from New Virginia residents, representing 73% of the town's population. In other words, the concentration of opposition is not scattered or abstract. It is densely localized among the very landowners whose properties fall within the highest predicted sound and safety exposure zones. These are the families who will experience the daily effects of this facility, the people whose lives and land use will be most directly impacted. By contrast, while I cannot speak to the exact distribution of the signatures supporting the project, the data available indicates that very few originate within that same impact radius. The voices of those most affected are both numerous and geographically concentrated, and I believe those are the voices that warrant the board's greatest attention. Beyond the human implications, this region also represents one of southern Iowa's most valuable wildlife corridors, characterized by the Conservation Reserve Program acreage, restored prairie, food plots, and managed timber. Multiple landowners participate in quality deer management efforts to preserve herd genetics and habitat integrity. This area sustains the trophy caliber white-tailed deer for which Warren County and surrounding counties are known. Studies by the U.S. Forest Service in 2018 and the Journal of Wildlife Management in 2020 show that deer exposed to sustained gunfire develop stress responses, reduced feeding, and displacement from habitat. In suburban areas such as Waukee, where the current gun club operates, deer already habituated to human presence can tolerate periodic disturbance. But in quiet, low-disturbance agricultural landscapes like New Virginia, the same noise profile constitutes a new dominant stressor, disrupting movement patterns, breeding ranges, and long-term habitat use. This simply isn't about hunting or recreation. It's about the ecological and economic value of maintaining intact, functioning habitat. Members of the board, I know you have expressed your intent to listen most closely to those people whose lives will be affected to the greatest degree. The data before you shows exactly who these people are. They are here tonight. They live inside that circle, and their collective voice is clear. This proposal would fundamentally alter the rural, ecological, and community character of New Virginia. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
I apparently need to get taller. My name is Lori Peterson, and my husband and I own Peterson Performance Horses at 3501 Wilson Street in New Virginia. As you've heard, our property directly adjoins the land proposed for the rezoning, and we share about a half a mile of boundary with that site. We chose this place because it was quiet and peaceful. A dead-end road surrounded by farmland. I'm sorry. The kind of environment where horses can thrive and people can relax. It's where we built our dream and our livelihood. We breed and train quarter horses and paint horses. They're gentle and steady and world-class show horses that require calm and consistency. We've produced world and reserve world champions, national and reserve national champions, and Congress, reserve and Congress champions. But with everything we built, every horse, every foal, every quiet morning would be at risk if the property beside us is rezoned to allow a 365 minus holidays, of course, day-a-year gun club. Our barn and our pastures sit less than a half a mile from that site. We have already tested it, as you have heard, with the firearms that the gun club plans to use. The sound carries for miles. Imagine 24,000 gunshots every week from sunrise, or 9 o'clock, to sunset, sometimes even in the night under floodlights. Now, horses, they're prey animals, and what that does, their instincts tell them to flee. When they hear something loud and sudden, they don't reason through it, they just react. We house mares with newborn foals, pregnant mares, and young horses. Every animal I own is less than 2 years old. All of these are the most sensitive horses and ages of horses. When they spook, they can run through fences, crash into their stalls, or injure themselves or their handlers. I've been startled. I've seen a startled foal slip and fall. I've seen mares panic in trailers when a loud noise went off nearby. And I can tell you, the sound of gunfire isn't something you can train out of a horse. It shakes their whole body. Studies show it raises their heart rate. It spikes their cortisol levels, even affects reproduction. Mares under constant stress may miscarry or fail to conceive, and foals can develop anxiety that lasts their whole lives. These aren't just emotional losses, there's devastating financial ones. A single injured foal or a lost pregnancy can cost me tens of thousands of dollars. When a show prospect becomes nervous or unpredictable, it loses its marketability entirely. A business like ours can't survive that kind of loss, not when it's caused by something entirely outside of my control. And it's not just horses, if you can just give me a moment. It's not just our horses, we have dogs. We have 4 dogs, 2 labs and 2 dachshunds. 2 of these animals are deathly afraid of sound, even thunder. One of our labs can't even stand the sight of a gun. If they shake when they hear the sound of a thunderstorm. So under this constant gunfire, our dogs can't even enjoy our property any longer. They can't go out fishing. They can't enjoy fetching on our property.
Ma'am, I'm gonna have to cut you off. I'm sorry. There's a lot of people to speak, so I apologize.
Well, I wish we were afforded the same amount of time that the gun club was.
Charlie Walters, 2410 G76 Highway. I have lived directly across or next to the proposed gun club site for over 57 years. My parents moved there when I was 11 years old. The 160 acres that we currently live border the proposed gun club on the west. We strongly oppose rezoning the land from agriculture to commercial for the following reasons. We've always enjoyed the peace and quiet of living and working on the farm. We enjoy spending time outdoors with family, grandkids, and friends. Loud continual gunshot noise will diminish the peace and quiet of living in the country. I'm sure everyone would agree they would not want a gun club in their backyard. I have concerns about using this land for a private gun club. I worked at the proposed gun club site as a teenager and am very familiar with this land. The farm had many wet spots prior to installing 160,000 feet of tile in 2013. This greatly improved the land to one of the more productive farms in the area. Extensive tile allows water to move off the site quickly, carrying contaminants to existing surface water and streams. Other agricultural concerns at the proposed site are large farm equipment such as combines, tractors, and grain trucks traveling along G76. Traffic moves at the speed limit. Most of the houses and field drives along G76 would not be legal by today's current law due to the limited line of sight. This makes it very dangerous for slow-moving farm equipment due to increased traffic from the proposed gun club. Another safety concern about the land is the fact that there are no natural berms which are needed for safety and noise reduction. We are approaching retirement, and our farm is a large part of our retirement plan. Whether we sell the farm or pass it to our kids, studies have shown that land values decrease significantly for homes near gun clubs. A gun club directly next to our property would certainly deter future buyers and decrease its current property value. This is a quiet, rural, agricultural area. Please respectfully keep it that way for the community and our neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Brad Smith, and I'm a lifelong Iowan. We raised our daughter in the I-35 school district. We live 1/2 a mile east of the Hunter Farm, the proposed site. Thank you for listening, because we represent the people who have been speaking in opposition and represent over 500 citizens who signed the petition. I really dread and shake my head that the peace and culture of the rural Virginia Township and small town of New Virginia will be shattered by the constant shotgun pops of a conservative 10,000 plus shots per week of adults and some youth practicing a hobby. I cannot believe, as a 4-H and FFA youth leader, farm kid leader, growing up on a family farm, that someone would invest over $1,000 an acre, $159,000 on the Hunter Farm the ad says, in modern pattern tiling, which is usually precisely laid with a laser technology, and now they want to neglect this productive God-created Iowa soil and this drainage investment to contaminate the soil with lead shot pellets and neighbors in the neighborhood community with nuisance noise. How can we enjoy our outdoor activities with family and friends with constant gunshot blasts? Our family barbecues, our relaxing on the outdoor deck after a long day of hard work, and our pets and our livestock. I'm also very concerned about the traffic safety being compromised as we have steady morning and afternoon commuter streams of traffic on G76 going to I-35, mostly heading north to Des Moines metro area for daily work schedules. Visitors that would come, that turn into the Hunter Farm property driveway is between two hills that obstruct visibility and cause serious injury and could cause serious injury or fatalities with commuter traffic streams. We have local ATVs, farm equipment, tractors, and grain trucks going to and from marketplace. Basically, this is a multi-million-dollar land transaction that the Hunter Farm owners want to cash in on, completely destroy the integrity of productive Iowa farmland, and then shatter the peace and quiet with 10,000 shotgun pops and blasts per week, leaving lead shot pellets on this rich, productive soil. The Banner shooting range, expanded under the umbrella of the DNR supervision, is probably a better choice. And they also have a Madison County Sportsman's Club that has a site. With this proposed change of sites, Dallas County will lose a nuisance noise polluter and environmental soil contamination, and Warren County will gain these problems, environmental and legal.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hi, Board. Thank you. My name is Dan King. Thank you for your public service and for this session tonight. I know that you had to vote to make sure you had a night session, so thank you. I've reviewed this proposal as I would any business deal that crosses my desk, and I'm asking myself, would I personally sign up for this? The proposed site sits near a strategic asset for Warren County, along one of our very few I-35 corridors. We must ask, does this proposal strengthen that asset or diminish it? Let's start with job creation. This project will not create any permanent jobs. They have one full-time employee. While New Pioneer Gun Club says they'll use local contractors, there's no guarantee they'll do so, and at best, it's a one-time benefit. We should also consider, could a gun club actually discourage future job growth in the area? Look at the Cumming exit, where thoughtful expansion brought a warehouse and jobs that coexist peacefully with the Wilson Apple Orchard. Would an apple orchard, a small retail business, or similar businesses want to locate next to a noisy gun club whose prime shooting hours are when residents do the most shopping? Property values are another huge concern. Realtor.com study shows homes near gun ranges lose an average of 3.7% and stay on the market longer. In New Virginia, that's a loss of over $6,200 per home. That's 8% of the average household income in New Virginia. This is significant loss for hardworking homeowners and families. As more people move south of Des Moines, would new neighbors want to buy or build next to a gun club? Realtors say no. Living near a gun club isn't on anybody's wish list. This doesn't support. Economic impact claims do not hold up. We've heard that visitors will spend money and revive local businesses, but there's zero evidence for this. New Pioneer Gun Club hasn't provided concrete visitor numbers. They've amplified impact to the zoning board and downplayed impact to the residents. Most event attendees would drive straight from the I-35 corridor, bypassing our main cities. Trap shooting may be growing, but it's not the only fast-growing youth sport. High growth rates based on small participation numbers do not equal a large number of visitors, creating sustained economic growth. No projections, case studies, impact analysis was performed. This doesn't solve access for Warren County residents. Drive from Indianola or Norwalk to New Pioneer Gun Club and proposed location, it's the same amount of time. This is a very expensive activity. The I-35 trap coach said the cost remains prohibitive for many families. This proposal does not solve for that. This does not meet, the proposal does not create jobs. It's not the right opportunity. Thank you very
Thank you,
much
sir.
for your time.
Warren County Board of Supervisors, thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Chris Smith. I work for Hertz Farm Management, which is located at 415 South 11th Street, Nevada, Iowa. I'm the professional farm manager for the Sharon Torno property. Mrs. Torno's property is 67.95 acres adjacent to the GM Hunter Ag Inc. property, the proposed location for the New Pioneer Gun Club. More specifically, her property is adjacent to the east side of the Hunter Ag property, the direction of where the guns will aim and shoot. Mrs. Torno felt it was important that you hear from adjacent landowners, so that's why I am here. Sharon Torno would like to be here to speak to you personally, but due to her severe health issues, she is unable to be with us here tonight. She's requested that as her farm manager, I represent her interests in this matter and speak tonight on her behalf. Mrs. Torno is gravely concerned about this project. She has specifically requested that I inform you as the board that she is vehemently opposed to the zoning change and to the gun club's proposal to move next to her property. Mrs. Torno reached out to each of you by phone over the past 2 weeks, but the only supervisor she was able to speak to was Mr. DeCook. She was either not able to reach the rest of you or you were not able to return a phone call to her yet. She asked me to again thank Mr. DeCook for taking the time to visit and hear her concerns personally. Mrs. Torno's land has been in her family for generations. This land was settled by her great-grandparents around 1865. For those of you history majors, that's a Civil War. Mrs. Torno's grandmother, Mary Green, and Sharon's mother, Hetty Hessekamp, both grew up on this farm. Mrs. Torno is the last surviving member of her family, and she intends to donate her land to the Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation upon her death, to be forever maintained in its natural beauty so that it can be enjoyed by the whole community and native animals, especially birds, as a place of peacefulness and tranquility. She converted the farm into conservation reserve in 2017 with this very intent. Mrs. Torno respects the Second Amendment of the Constitution and isn't opposed to the sport of hunting as a recreational activity. However, one of the reasons she's very much opposed to the gun club's proposed location is because of her firsthand experience. Mrs. Torno lived near a shooting club in New Mexico and heard the constant ringing of gunshots and noise pollution. She witnessed land values and home values plummet due to the fact that people no longer viewed her area as a desirable place to live or raise a family. Allowing a shooting range to move in next door to Torno's will destroy any possibility of creating a peaceful place to share. No person or animal will feel safe walking through a nature preserve disrupted by daily gunfire. This property has been owned by Mrs. Torno's family for over 150 years. A shooting range next door would not be a good neighbor. Mrs. Torno respectfully requests that each of you vote no on this zoning change and reject the gun club's proposed location for the safety, environmental, and economic reasons we outlined. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, sir.
Amos Boffman, 15261 Highway 65. Good evening. My name is Amos Boffman, and I'm a resident of Warren County. I'm a 19-year-old former member of the Indianola Youth Trap Team and one of the state champions of 2023. I have proudly competed for 5 years, and during that time, I participated in multiple shooting disciplines, including trap, handicaps, doubles, skeet, double skeet, 5-stand, and sporting clays. I'm also a registered ATA shooter and have spent many years representing Warren County youth in local and state competitions. I'm speaking today to express my full support for the relocation and expansion of the new Pioneer Gun Club to Warren County, Iowa. The shooting sports community has played an important role in my development, teaching responsibility, sportsmanship, discipline, and safety. Over the years, I have built lasting friendships and received invaluable mentorship from experienced shooters who have guided me and others and encouraged me. Through this experience, I've gained lifelong skills that no one can ever take away from me. Skills that have shaped my character and confidence both on and off the range. Their support has motivated me to continue competing in ATA events and both at local and state level. Bringing the new Pioneer Gun Club to Warren County would help preserve and grow youth shooting programs, like the one I was a part of. It would also attract more events, participants, and visitors to the area, creating both educational and economic benefits. And a new and expanded facility would ensure the future generations of shooters that they have the same opportunities as I did to learn, compete, and build lifelong friendships in supportive and well-organized environment. Thank you for your time and consideration. I strongly encourage the board to support this relocation and expansion effort. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. I didn't realize it was a line. I apologize for that. My name is Tim Busby, and my wife and I have lived just outside of New Virginia for 41 years at 3900 G76 Highway. We raised our 2 children here, and about 15 years ago, we built our forever home with a 5-acre pond, just 1 mile east of the proposed site. Between the two of us, we served Interstate 35 Community School District for a combined total of 53 years as teachers, coaches, and sponsors. I ended my career as the high school, middle school principal. We've devoted our lives to this community and to its children. We're also strong supporters of the Second Amendment and understand how important extracurricular activities are for students. We've often heard from supporters of this proposal that the new gun club is for the kids. While we absolutely support the activities that benefit young people, we believe this proposal helps only a small group of students, those in shooting sports, while potentially harming many others. Throughout our careers, we always asked one guiding question before making a decision. Is this good for all kids? That same question should apply here. For the families who live near the proposed site, there are serious long-term concerns. First, noise. Repeated gunfire creates impulse noise that studies show can cause stress, sleep disruption, and psychological effects, especially in children. Telling families they'll get used to it ignores the real impact on health and quality of life. Second, environmental risk. The site is field tiled, which means contaminants can migrate through the soil and water. Lead from ammunition is a known neurotoxin linked to neurological and development problems in children. And beyond those facts, there's a simple human concern. How do we explain constant gunfire to our 5 young grandchildren while they're fishing or swimming at our pond? How do parents explain it to children playing in the park, riding bikes, or just enjoying the outside? We're not opposed to shooting sports or student programs. We're asking that the decision be made with the entire community in mind. Every child, every family, every neighbor. So please ask yourself that same question we asked for decades in education. Is this truly good for all kids or just a few? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'll try not to embarrass you. Hi, my name is Laura Gibson. I live at 1167 250 Avenue in New Virginia. I also live in that area, and I'm excited. So as you guys know,
Can you pull the mic down? Thank you.
I was just going to ask if I was too short for that. So as you guys can tell, I do support this gun club. And I'm going to talk about something different than everybody else. I'm going to talk about my family. And as stated before, our team has grown. Why, you ask? Because almost anybody can shoot trap, no matter of your size, gender, if you're wealthy or poor, if you sit in a wheelchair, or if you're standing. Which is why that trap shooting has a tremendous growth rate. But even then, it's so much more. It's the opportunity for our kids to be a part of a team, a family. Other sports do not compare to the trap. Other sports do not count for trap because in other sports, if you usually are the best player, then you get to play, not trap. Trap, every kid gets to shoot. It doesn't matter how good you are or not. And if you do not do good, and the kids can tell you this too, if a kid member is having a hard time or struggling, they don't laugh at each other or make fun of each other. They encourage each other. They help each other. They help each other grow. This not only builds character, but confidence, where it may have lacked before, and dedication, which also spills into everyday life. We are not just a team, but a family. But as you can see, our family is not just our team. It's multiple teams, as you can see. They're even out there. I don't know if you can see them or not. They come together for support, look around, and, We want to grow our family and let kids experience the joy and closeness of trap given to us. But we need room, we need a home, and that is what this gun club will provide. And noise, yes, there will be noise, but not only from the shotguns, but from the laughter of the kids who are enjoying the friendships and accomplishments of themselves and each other. And I can tell you right now, there is no better sound than Coach Gibby and all the other kids when that child shoots their first 25 straight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the chance to speak tonight. My name is Jerry Young, and I reside at 2626 Highway G76, directly in front and beside the proposed project. I keep hearing from my neighbors, why would you want a gun club in front of your house? I will attempt now to answer that question. In the short 7 years since moving to New Virginia, I have seen several important parts of the community close or relocate. Our little bakery, our local restaurant, our meal site, our tire and auto shop has moved, and even our gas station is closed. Each closure represented more than just the loss of a business. It was a loss of places where people gathered, supported each other, and built community. All of us here tonight care deeply about the future of New Virginia. It's very clear. I am a local high school teacher. I'm very active in our town. I'm a member of the New Virginia Lions Club. I help run our monthly bingo nights. I'm also a member of Old Settlers Committee, working all year for our town. In the past, I've served on Hometown Pride Committee. I share this because I want you to know that I'm invested in this community and its success. This speaks to the core of my position on this decision. That is why I support the relocation of the new Pioneer Gun Club to New Virginia. My home is directly in front of the proposed site. And even with that in mind, I welcome the opportunity I see as a positive step forward for our town. The club has a strong reputation for safety, community involvement, and their presence can bring new activity and new energy to New Virginia. This relocation would give the I-35 Shooting Sports Club kids a reliable and safe place to call home. These young people are learning responsibility, discipline, and teamwork through shooting sports, and having a quality, close-by facility will help them to grow in a structured environment. The new Pioneer Gun Club has the potential to bring visitors for events, training, competitions, all which can support local businesses and spark new opportunities. At the time when we watch too many doors close, this is a change to open new ones. I strongly encourage you to support this relocation and help us bring new life to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Aaron Rasco, 17744 Low Street, Ackworth. Good evening, board members, and thanks for taking the extra time tonight to listen to everyone here. As stated before, my name is Aaron Rasco, and I'm the head coach and a board member of the Indianola Youth Trap Team. On behalf of the team and personally, I urge you to vote yes to New Pioneer Gun Club's rezoning request. One of the challenges our team and others face is finding venues to shoot at. We hold our weekly practice and a number of meets each year at our local range, but to participate in away meets and to even practice the other disciplines, sporting clays and skeet, we, like all other teams in the area, have to travel an hour or more. Approving the zoning change today will not only be favorable to our team and others in the area, but will open up opportunities for many schools in the area who may be considering starting a shooting sports team, and for youth who may not have had the opportunity to try this sport. We believe that the community and economy will benefit as well with the number of participants and guests that shooting events will bring in, as well as other events that may take place in this new modern venue. In closing, the Indianola Trap Team strongly encourages the board to approve the C2 zoning classification for this project and welcome the positive impact it will bring to our county. Thank you.
Good evening. Cody Hutton, 3222 260th Court, St. Charles. I am the head coach of the I-35 shooting sports team, and I actually didn't prepare a speech or nothing, but I have some answers for a lot of things I heard this evening, because unlike just about anybody, I have a gun range in my backyard. 30 yards off my deck is our trap team's practice field. We shoot there a lot. We can still grill on our deck. My wife does flowers in the yard. There is a horse 50 yards across the fence from where we shoot. There's cattle 200 yards on two sides of it. I have video if anybody's got a question about displacing wildlife, maybe a minute, but I have bobcats. I also shoot rifles. I have a rifle range 100 yards off my deck. In the gun range, I have deer there about at least 3 times a week. It's a pop. It is not fireworks. It is not rifle bangs. It is not thunder. If anything, I can compare it, maybe your neighbor roofing his house. It's a pop. It is not a loud crack. It is going to be a noise. I will never guarantee that. But I did take a ride with one of the neighbors a half mile away, excuse me. We could not, with the windows down on a calm night, could barely hear it. It's not going to disrupt lives. And if I had to bet, 90% of the time they're going to be inside eating supper with the windows up and the air conditioner running. This will go on a long time, but it's not, the sky's not falling, I don't believe. The only other thing I really dislike hearing is the lead poisoning. Lead comes from the ground as lead. Straight from the ground as lead. And this lead falls on the ground, stays there as lead. It doesn't dissolve like a nutrient, like a fertilizer. It lays there as lead till it is reclaimed. If you start melting it or refining it, yes, lead can be dangerous, but it is not consumable. It's a natural resource. It is not a contaminant. That fight is by the NIs to make shooting unaffordable, and it kills me to hear other people use it. They will take, and the DNR is my very best friends in the shooting sports, AJ and all them, but they were asked by the opposition not to come and give facts tonight. So I'm going to try to do it for them. There will be berms and litigation of that lead. It will be contained. It will be safe. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
My name's Karen Kralik. I live at 24494 R45 Highway, New Virginia, just south of New Virginia, about a half a mile. Ladies and gentlemen, first let me be clear. Bill and I are not against the Second Amendment, nor do we oppose youth gun sports. What we are opposed to is the proposed magnitude of the gun club and the rezoning request that threatens the very fabric of our community. We moved to New Virginia in 2013, seeking peace and tranquility away from city life. Our home, just a mile east of the proposed gun club, was built to embrace the beauty of nature, ponds, pastures, timbers, and a thriving habitat for deer, turkey, and countless other wildlife. This is not just our home, it's a place we share with family and friends who come to fish, hike, hunt, and simply enjoy the serenity. Our farm is dedicated to breeding, raising, and boarding horses. We ride across our land and neighboring roads. But horses, as you may know, are easily spooked by continual gunfire. This isn't just an inconvenience, it's a threat to our business and the well-being of our animals. Our mares and foals could be at risk, and our ability to maintain our livelihood would be jeopardized. Lighting's another major concern. The night sky here is breathtaking, a tapestry of stars, planets, and the Milky Way. Excessive lighting from the gun club would disrupt wildlife patterns and rob us of this natural wonder, something city dwellers rarely experience. Financially, the impact is devastating. We would never have purchased our property had the gun club existed. We saw this quiet community as a future bedroom center for Des Moines, expecting property values to rise and leave a legacy for our heirs. Rezoning will deter families from moving here, make land hard to sell, and drive property values down. Our daily life and our legacy plan will be destroyed. Just last week, I was eating supper on the deck. The peace was shattered by 50 rounds of gunfire. My dogs were terrified, had to be inside. They're already afraid of fireworks, and constant shooting would make their lives unbearable. If this rezoning is approved, the face of our community will be forever changed. Generations who've lived here will lose their right to peace and tranquility. New families will not choose to come. People like Bill and I will lose what we've invested, not just financially, but the joy of country living. The tax base will deteriorate. Everyone loses. So I ask you, if you are truly honest with yourself, would you live next to this gun club? Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Bobby Heitink, and I live at 2894 Churro Road. And I'm for the gun club. My son, who just came and got me, is not athletic. He's not outgoing. He's actually really shy. And a lot of these coaches, and Jerry will, he's very shy. He doesn't get out. He doesn't do anything. And this is a sport that he's truly passionate about and is wanting to grow. And he does have a membership at one of our local gun clubs, but it's only open a couple days a week, and those 2 days are the days that he works. And so he can't go and practice, can't grow, can't do anything unless Cody is okay with him coming over, which is only during the spring. So like Cody said, most of our shooting and meets and practices are during the spring and fall. We, as the team, don't practice during the winter. We don't do much during the summer. I don't know about the other two teams, but I do know about I-35. Some of the boys might meet up and just have a day of shooting, but we don't practice every day. I mean, all year long. The meets I've been to, my dad comes and watches Colby's meets, and he's very sensitive to sound because he had a beam fall on his head. And he can handle it with, without much problems. I also, when me and my husband bought our land, we had a pasture behind us that had cattle on it, and it is now switched over to a public hunting ground. I have cattle, I have horses, I have goats, I have chickens, I have dogs. None of them have been affected by it. And it's only been there a year. Yes, I can hear it, but it's, it's barely a sound, barely wakes me up, barely does anything. So please take that in consideration. And to answer your question, if I was asked to live next to a gun range, I would. Because it's, I kind of lived next to one already, but it's not as much as the gun club would be. But I do know that it will benefit all the kids. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, members of the board. Thank you again for moving this to an evening where much more of the community could join us, and thank you for allowing several of the speakers to go over their 3-minute. That's very much appreciated. My name is Trish Steenhook. I live at 3680 Hoover Street in Prohl. I am a lifelong Warren County resident and mother of 3 boys who have grown up around shooting sports. I want to express my strong support for the relocation of the new Pioneer Gun Club to New Virginia. Trap shooting is the fastest growing sport in the nation, especially here in Iowa. Thousands of students are discovering the discipline, focus, and sportsmanship it teaches. Unlike many other activities, trap shooting is a sport where young men and women compete on equal ground, where parents and children can participate side by side, and where lifelong friendships are built. I've seen firsthand how it shapes character and brings families closer together. This sport has given my sons lessons that last far beyond the range: patience, discipline, respect, and teamwork. It's one of the few sports where entire families can participate together, from youth to grandparents. The environment is safe, structured, and rooted in responsibility. I've watched my boys grow not only as athletes, but as responsible young men through their involvement in shooting sports. I also understand that new development can cause concern, and no matter where a facility like this is going to be located, there will always be neighbors who feel uneasy about it. That's understandable. Change is not easy. But the truth is, the new Pioneer Gun Club has a long history of being respectful, safety conscious, and responsible neighbors. They take pride in maintaining their property, ensuring safety, and being good stewards of the land and the community. Relocating the club to Warren County would also bring real economic benefits to our surrounding towns, also being good neighbors. Events and tournaments attract hundreds of shooters and their families from across Iowa and neighboring states. They fill our hotels, eat at our restaurants, shop in our stores, and buy gas in our communities. Towns like Indianola, Carlisle, Norwalk, Cumming, Milo, and New Virginia will all feel that positive impact, not just once, but season after season. I'm proud to stand behind this project, not only as a mother, but as someone who believes what this sport represents for our youth, our community, and our future. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Colby Heiting from the I-35 trap team. I live at 2894 Chur Road, Chur, Iowa. I feel like you should approve of this because it would give us a lot of opportunities to grow and meet new people. Like I said, I'm not very nice. I'm not very, yeah.
You're doing a great job.
You're doing good. You're good.
You're fine.
At first, I didn't want to do this, but Nathan got me into it. It was on a trip. I'm so happy he did.
and I wouldn't do it any other way. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I am Deanne Strange, and I live at 3447 G76 Highway. I have lived in New Virginia for all of my 65 years, and my ancestors came here from Virginia in the 1850s and saw the rolling hills that reminded them of home and named it New Virginia. When I was growing up, every building in our business district housed a business, and West Street was filled with vehicles. There were 17 different businesses open on West Street. Now we have the food bank in Jesus' right hand, the bank, and a hair salon. We have lost so much. I attended the Warren County Leadership Institute, the Pioneer Seeds Rural Growth Initiative training in Chicago, and was a founding member of the New Virginia Development Corporation. We learned that when a large project presents itself that will benefit your area, you need to embrace that opportunity. Sometimes it just takes that one project to spur the growth of other projects. Our local organizations can all benefit from fundraising opportunities at the Gun Club. This is the only large project to present itself in our area for the last 40 years. I know most of the kids on the I-35 shooting sports, as I have worked as a secretary at I-35 schools for the last 29 years. And we owe it to our youth to bring this project to fruition. For many of these kids, this is their only sport, and they are very passionate about it. They have learned confidence and leadership skills. I have been to several high school and collegiate shooting meets at the New Prairie Gun Club. And what I observed at these meets bears no resemblance to the information that I have received in the mail. I urge the supervisors to please vote yes.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hi, I'm reading this for my neighbor, Tim Hoover, at 23344 38th Avenue. I reached out to a friend, Josh Phillips, who works in the soil remediation to help me understand the implications of the Phase 1 and Phase 2 reports. He and the company he works for have worked with the EPA, the USACE, and other federal agencies, as well as the local companies like Hubbell and Mid-American Energy to clean up contaminated sites, including lead-contaminated soil and other shooting ranges. After reviewing the Phase 1 and 2 reports, he was able to ballpark a number based on the industry standard cost, calculating 6 acres, the area of the land that is between the current skeet shooting area and the pond, and a depth of 1 foot. Total cost came in at about $3 million, and that is being conservative. Once furthermore extensive tests are done, more contamination may be exposed. If the developer who is purchasing the land follows the Phase 2 recommendations, it will be all of us, the taxpayers of the state of Iowa, who end up paying for the cleanup. Either way, the new Pioneer is free to move to a new location and start over. Who will pay for the cleanup the next time it is time to move? My daughter, your kids? New Pioneer is not providing a public service with no taxpayer money. They are a private member-based club who will let someone else clean up their environmental mess. I am in no way a protectionist that doesn't want growth. I am realistic enough to know it is coming for us at some point in the future. How long will it take to reach us? Who knows? But it is coming for us. Then we need to prepare realistically and responsibly, and granting C2 zoning to a business shoehorned into a largely ag and residential area, knowing even the EPA's best practices aren't enough to keep the soil clean to EPA standards, is not responsible growth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Laura Strange, and I live at 3685 G76 Highway, 1.2 miles east of the proposed site. I'm an 8th generation New Virginian, a lifetime citizen of New Virginia and Warren County, an active volunteer for the community, a former high school and collegiate shooting sports athlete, and I currently hold my shotgun shooting sports coaching license. Prior to starting shooting sports, I played softball from preschool to the summer after my sophomore year when I suffered a shoulder injury so bad my doctors told me I couldn't play anymore. I was lost. The sport I had poured myself into for the last 12 years was no longer an option for me. That was when one of my friends convinced me to join I-35's trap team. I instantly fell in love. I made so many friends and continued on to shoot collegiately. Shooting sports participation allowed me to qualify for multiple scholarships. I know a lot of the kids in this room have had a similar experience to me. Now moving on to the flyers sent out full of misinformation and fear-mongering, sent out and paid for by concerned property owners of New Virginia, Iowa, not concerned citizens. Who sent it out? Who paid for it? It doesn't say. We've been told by reliable sources that it's by someone who doesn't live in New Virginia or Warren County. In this map, they debunked it in the fine print of their own petition where it says, and I quote, propagation depends on terrain, wind, humidity, and ground cover, but in open rural settings, gunshots are commonly audible out to approximately 1 mile and more under downwind conditions, end quote. The club won't even be in an open setting. There will be plenty of trees, hills, and structures to stop and dampen the noise. I can't debunk all of the information in 3 minutes, but I can personally talk about the wildlife. I can't count on my fingers the amount of times my squad has had to stop mid-round or delay our start due to wildlife, such as deer or turkey being on the range. They weren't scared off by the gunfire or all the people. In fact, they'd stand there, graze, and just stare at us, not run off. Thank you for your time, and please support this gun club.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Meg Kistner. I live at 1003 North O Street in Indianola. I'm the president of Warren County Shotgun Sports, a youth team of more than 40 kids from all over Warren County. I'm also the parent of 3 competitive shooters. My girls shoot for Warren County and have both placed at state championships in multiple disciplines, and my oldest son shoots for William Penn University. All 3 of my kids regularly practice and compete at New Pioneer, so we understand firsthand the need for growth. I'm here tonight to urge you to approve the rezoning that will allow the New Pioneer Gun Club to relocate to Highway G76. From what I've seen, both as a parent and as a leader, is a program that truly changes kids' lives. For my son, when contact sports was no longer an option due to too many concussions, shooting sports gave him a path to continue competing at a high level and ultimately earned him a college education through an athletic scholarship. This sport is helping our kids become well-rounded athletes while teaching vital life skills, fundraising, public speaking, as you'll hear my daughter next, teamwork, mentorship, goal setting, and mental resilience. Shooting sports challenges them individually and as a team, teaching discipline, responsibility, and sportsmanship, lessons that extend far beyond the range. When we attend larger competitions, families stay in local hotels, eat at restaurants, and shop in nearby stores. This isn't just about New Virginia. It's about bringing people and economic activity into the growing communities such as Norwalk and Indianola, where families will spend their time and money when attending events. How do I know this? Because I spend my money in other communities when we go to shoot. Highway G76 is ideal. It's planned for commercial use, it's easily accessible via the interstate, and it's centrally located for teams across the Midwest. There's been a lot of misinformation shared about this project. This is a nonprofit organization with a 60-year record of safe, responsible operation. It's shotgun only, no rifles or pistols, and it operates during daylight hours. Wildlife coexists peacefully right alongside the ranges. It's common to see deer and turkeys walking by as the kids are shooting. Environmental responsibility is taken seriously. Lead is reclaimed and recycled by licensed contractors. The club follows EPA best practices. There's never been a violation in over 6 decades. Waukee has grown into one of the fastest developing areas with New Pioneer at the center for 60 years, proving that safe, well-run ranges coexist with neighborhoods and schools. At its heart, this project is about community, giving kids a safe place to learn and compete, bringing visitors and dollars into Warren County, and creating a facility that grows with us for decades. Warren County has an opportunity to be a leader in shooting sports in Iowa, and that starts with supporting this range. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Eiley, and I've been shooting competitively for 3 years, but I've loved this sport for 11 years because I've been watching my brother and his teammates compete. I'm really proud to be a part of Warren County Shotgun Sports. Over the past few years, I've worked really hard and have been lucky enough to become a state champion in multiple disciplines, including skeet and 5-stand this past year. I even competed in my first national championship in Ohio. It was an amazing experience, and it showed me what's possible if I keep working hard. Right now, I've been training for these advanced events, means traveling a lot just for practice on ranges that have the right setup. Warren County doesn't have skeet or sporting clays courses, so my family spends a lot of time and money traveling outside the county. A bigger, better facility here at home would let me and my teammates practice more consistently, improve faster aim, and aim for even higher goals, including shooting in college and maybe even beyond. Shooting has taught me focus, patience, and confidence. I've learned how to set goals and work hard to reach them. I've made amazing friends, and being a part of a team that supports each other is something I really value. A facility like this would give even more kids the chance to experience all of that right here in our community. This range would help me train to the best of my ability, help my teammates grow, and let Warren County become a place where athletes can reach their full potential. I really hope you can support this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Good evening. My name is Joe Kistner. I'm the head coach of Warren County Shotgun Sports, where I have the privilege of working with almost 40 athletes from Indianola, Norwalk, Carlisle, Milo, and nearby communities.
I don't think your mic is right by your mouth. There you go.
There. Is that better? All right. I'm here tonight to urge the support of the rezoning that will allow the new Pioneer Gun Club to relocate to Highway G76. As a coach, I see the impact of shooting sports every day. These programs teach focus, discipline, responsibility, and teamwork, skills kids carry into school, work, and life. More importantly, they give kids a place to belong and be challenged to grow. Our program is growing fast, and the demand is outpacing the space we have. New Pioneer is already the largest skeet range in Iowa, yet are completely landlocked with no room to expand. Iowa SCTP has had to limit how many athletes could participate in state-level competitions simply because there wasn't enough room. That's not a lack of interest, it's a lack of opportunity. A larger facility would allow us to expand youth programs such as high school and college athletes and continue developing the next generation of athletes. A bigger range also benefits the community and local economy. Families traveling for competitions stay in hotels, eat at local restaurants, and shop in our stores. This generates tax revenue without costing taxpayers a dime, and bring new visitors to the growing communities of Warren County. I also want to address the concerns that have been raised about safety and impact. It's a shotgun-only facility, operates during daylight hours. Very rarely do we shoot after daylight. I'm a board member for the Isaac Walton in Warren County as well, and we don't shoot after dark. Not very often anyway. And wildlife coexists naturally alongside the range. Environmental stewardship is a priority. Lead is safely reclaimed and recycled according to EPA best practices. Waukegan has grown into one of the fastest developing areas in the state, with New Pioneer at its center. And property values don't seem to be negatively affected by the range, providing that well-managed facilities can coexist safely with neighborhood and schools. At its core, this project is about building a program that can keep up with demand, providing the space and resources our athletes need to train, compete, and reach their full potential, while positioning Warren County as a hub for shooting sports in Iowa. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good evening.
All right, hello. Joe's tall, so I'm gonna bring it down. My name is Angie Kroll. My address is 225 West High Road in Norwalk. I just want to say thank you guys for allowing this opportunity for all of us to speak and to listen to us. I'm here tonight to voice my support for the relocation of the New Pioneer Gun Club to G76 Highway in New Virginia. The project will impact my family personally, as well as the greater population of Warren County. And while I do understand the reluctance of the adjacent neighbors, I think the project has many great benefits to Warren County as a whole. On a personal level, my 13-year-old son is part of the Warren County Shotgun Sports team. This sport has become a passion for him, which is uncomfortable for me because I am a city kid raised without guns. But it has been my honor to watch him grow because of this sport. He's learning discipline, improving his focus, developing responsibility, becoming more resilient, building friendships, and he's gaining an appreciation for the outdoors and conservation. One thing that surprised me about this sport is how structured and calm the meets are. The meets are generally very focused, very calm. The loudest cheering you'll hear is equivalent to like a golf clap at the end of the rounds. I am a yeller when I support my kids, and that is not what this is about. It is very respectful and sportsmanlike, and it's centered around the self-improvement and discipline of the athletes. The sport is also immersed in the natural beauty of Iowa. We are so blessed here in Iowa. Most ranges that we visited are set against the beautiful backdrops, the rolling hills, the open fields, the woodlands, all the different areas. And I've witnessed majestic sunrises and sunsets while coming to and from the ranges. We've seen wild turkeys and deer and bald eagles and turkey vultures all pass through mid-shoot. It's true, you have to pause sometimes to let them go. And moments like these help foster a respectful, conservation-minded relationship with the land for the athletes and spectators alike. Beyond youth sports, the new facility will serve as a hub for safe, family-oriented recreation, education, and community events. It will also contribute significantly to the local economy. Events will bring families into the county, supporting restaurants, gas stations, local shops, and even hotels. This is a year-round opportunity, and it will generate tax revenue while providing public benefit. The Gun Club has a history of promoting safety, education, and responsible firearm use, and I'm confident that they will bring that same integrity and care to this facility. This project supports our youth, boosts our economy, and respects the land and values of Warren County, and I respectfully urge you to approve the rezoning of this land and welcome the new Pioneer Gun Club to Warren County.
Thank you.
I'm Justin Strange. I live at 3685 G76 Highway, 1.2 miles east of the proposed site. I've spent all my 44 years with an address of New Virginia 50210. As my mom said, my ancestors settled New Virginia. I'm also the current mayor. I was just going to listen to the county's decision, but I decided as a public figure, you can't hide in the shadows. Myself and others that live close and support this proposal have been personally attacked, ridiculed, and been called nuts. 3 in particular, myself, my mother, and Jerry Young. I wondered why we were aligned. As I contemplated, there was one characteristic that stood out. We are all selfless individuals that give back and serve others. It's not by coincidence that the 3 of us are past recipients of the New Virginia Volunteer of the Year Award. I pull myself too thin. I'm a father, spouse, Mason, 14-year councilman, and 2-year mayor. I've coached Little League for 15 straight years, youth volleyball the past 4. I take time off from my full-time job to substitute teach at I-35. I almost didn't turn in my papers to rerun for mayor. It's exhausting. Fall 2023, I didn't campaign, put up a single sign, or make a single phone call. I took a job nobody else wanted. I don't have to do any of this. I chose to serve because that's how I was raised. That's the New Virginia I grew up in, and that's the New Virginia I want to leave to my kids. My good friend Nathan Gibson has taken more attacks than anyone else. He spends numerous hours with our youth in our community and is our current school board president. He is one of the most sincere and unselfish people I've met. We both pour countless hours into our community's kids because we understand the importance and long-term impact it can have. We also have another thing in common. We all did our own research, independent thinking, and we're not emotionally swayed by misinformation and fear-mongering. We understand the noise level. We know it will not be a detriment to our lives, and we are all unselfishly showing support for our community and our youth. I've watched as our businesses have slowly faded away. Not only have these faded away, but also pride in community and being involved. A select few keep our city and local events going. Many enjoy these things, but very few will lend a hand. When the current few get burnt out and quit, then what? We're about there. We're trying to bring people back to and through New Virginia and to put it back on the map. Small businesses don't thrive in a town of 500 from residents. They thrive and stay open from consistent traffic and outside visitors. Yes, this is a gun club, but its main activity is supporting the fastest growing youth sport in Iowa, and youth sports bring people. Norwalk understands that. We are not the future of New Virginia, these kids are. My hope is leading by example and showing my support sparks a sense of community in them, and they pick up a torch because for the few keeping things going, They're getting older and their flames are getting dimmer. I see future public servants, volunteers, and coaches right here. If this gets shot down, I fear the potential spark for our city and in these kids will die and the town goes dark and silent. But seems that might be exactly what some people want.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mike Boffman. My address is 15261 Highway 65, Indianola. I am coach for the Indianola Trap Team and the president of their board. Like I said, my son Amos spoke earlier, and like Laura had commented earlier, the trap stuff is, for the kids, it is a family. I mean, we all get to know each other. I think it's very good for the kids and even the parents to communicate with them, and plus, I'm hoping my son, and I've seen it with the guys I work with that are in their 30s now, that shot on the trap teams that are coming back to the sport to keep shooting, to keep the clubs running. And I think it will draw some people to New Virginia for the right reasons. I know we usually, when we go to places, we meet families from out of town to go to restaurants, ice cream shops, anything to visit and socialize some. So I think it would possibly draw some people to town if the opportunity was there for them. And I think I live 3.5 miles from the Warren County Ikes. I've lived there about 10 years. I didn't even think about it when I bought the place. I don't notice the shooting. I notice when they shoot rifles and handguns at the Ikes, you hear it. Shotguns, I don't. And I know when the 200 acres south of our place along the highway was up for sale 2 years ago, I was really happy a farmer bought it because there wasn't gonna be somebody farming houses, and I would have much rather had a shooting range across the street from my house because I've been around it and know it's a good operation and it's good for the kids and the community. So I would urge you to support it if you could, please. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Dan Hutton. I own the property at 3484 Vermont Street, about a mile and a half from the new proposed site. I am in support of it. I do have a couple of questions for some people. The sales tax goes directly to the county, correct? Okay, so 7% of hundreds of thousands of dollars of goods that are delivered to that place, ammunition, clays, food, what have you, the 7% would go to the county?
Normally don't interact, but there's a
Okay.
state sales
I just
tax.
asked.
You're right. There's a state sales tax if it's 7%. There's a local option sales tax in the county. The county sees about a penny of it.
Okay, perfect. I will say that I'm a local Lions member. I serve on the Interstate 35 School Board. I've helped coach multiple sports. I am also a local contractor, and you will find my business logo at the school on many different things. I would also like to point out that I think people are using the New Pioneer Gun Club as kind of a punching bag for certain things and don't understand everything that they do for multiple organizations. As for the Ronald McDonald, for the Pinky Swear Foundation, it's actually really hard to listen to, knowing what kind of people they are and what kind of people serve on that board. The other thing I'll say is, if not here, where? Like, anywhere you go, someone's going to be upset. I really do believe it'll help our community grow, as in tax revenue, people coming through, anybody that's the tire shop at the interstate, guarantee he's going to do tires. The other thing I'm going to say is I am a small local contractor, and in that aspect, a lot of the jobs I do are, as someone said, it's a one and done. Well, a lot of the projects I do are one and done. A lot of the schools I do, the project, I hope it's one and done and I don't have to come back and work on it again. So with all that said, I won't waste any more of your time or anything else, but thank you very much, and I would appreciate your support.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Penny May. Ooh, that's kind of loud.
Could you say that one more time?
I'm Penny May. I live at 3765 Wilson Street. but I'm reading a letter from a family who lives at 2742 G76 Highway, which driveway is directly north of the proposed gun site. The letter is stating, my mother is Charlotte Wickett. She lives at 2747 G76. Her property is located directly across the road. My mother and father purchased their home in 7 acres in 1975. This is where I was raised, and this would significantly impede on my mom's daily life and well-being. The map below shows how, oh, sorry, there's the map. The proposed rezoning of land will impact my mom, family, neighbors, and community. The reasons for opposing the new Pioneer Gun Club at the proposed locations are below. The noise pollution. Mom will not be able to rest with daily and evening noise disruptions. Increased traffic in and out of the property. Operations 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. Shooting times, at the time this was written, was 7 a.m. to dark, now 9. Environmental concerns, financial harm with reduced property values, domestic animal and wildlife distress, oversight of the property with potential future expansion. Sonia says, I was unable to attend tonight due to work obligations. But please, thank you for your attention to this matter.
Thank you.
And now mine. My husband and I built our home in 2001. We moved from Des Moines to raise our 3 children, to get away from the chaos and the distractions and the pollution and the city noise. And it worked out, must be okay, because 2 of my children who are grown and gone from home and have families of their own still live in Warren County. However, my granddaughter loves to ride her horses. And I will no longer, I know we're all here for the kids, right? There's other kids' activities. And she will no longer be able to ride her horse around the gun club for fear of the horse acting up. Or, yeah. I still enjoy family cookouts, watching my grandson and daughters ride their horses, seeing the animals.
You're fine.
Do I get extra time?
You're fine. Go ahead.
The beautiful sunrises and sunsets from my deck. If you approve the gun club, all this will come to an end. My community and my own quality of life will definitely change. With the continual gunshots, family cookouts, and outdoor games will no longer happen. I will no longer be able to watch the grandchildren ride the horses or sit on my deck, enjoy the deer, turkey, etc., or the beautiful sunsets without listening to the gunshots. I have a German Shepherd that will continually be in protective mode. Fearing for his health, I'll have to find him a new home. Without these things, the quality of life will be gone. When the school closed in New Virginia and moved to Truro, Madison County, we saw a downturn in growth. We just started seeing new homes go back up in New Virginia. While short-term, the revenue looks good from the sale, but in the future, is it going to cost us? Or is it going to continue to bring in revenue? I thoroughly believe travelers will have to stay in Clark or Polk or Dallas County, leaving their revenue there. Please do not approve the gun club and take away everything our community has worked so hard to uphold.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Cheryl Bowles. I'm chairman of the Virginia Township Trustees, New Virginia, Iowa. And on behalf of the Virginia Township Trustees, I'm here tonight to express our strong opposition to the proposed new Pioneer Gun Club. This proposal is of a particular concern to the trustees, as it is our duty to include the maintenance and care of the New Virginia Cemetery, which is located in less than a mile from the proposed site. We take a great pride in our cemetery, and its peaceful, well-maintained grounds are a direct reflection of our commitment to our community. The trustees believe this establishment of a commercial gun club in such a close proximity to the cemetery would be a grave mistake. The constant repetitive sound of gunfire would be a serious and disrespectful disruption, especially during the most solemn of occasions, funeral and burial services. Please consider the following scenario. A family gathered to lay a loved one to rest in the New Virginia Cemetery. As they stand graveside, hearing words of comfort and sharing quiet memories, the moment is shattered by the sound of rapid and sustained gunfire. The noise would not only interrupt the service, but would inflict immense emotional distress on grieving families, violating the very purpose of a cemetery as a hallowed and peaceful final resting place. The serenity and dignity of the New Virginia Cemetery are not just a matter of aesthetics, but are fundamental to providing a space of healing and respect for our residents. The sound of gunfire is incompatible with such a purpose. As chairman and spokesman for the Virginia Township Trustees, I respectfully request that you consider the significant and painful consequence when making your decision on the proposed gun club. We ask that you protect the tranquility of our cemetery and the dignity of our residents, both living and deceased. Thank you for your time and attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
This is read on behalf of Ryan Deanna Morris at 3556 Highway G76. They've been there for the last 20 years and are raising their 3 daughters on their peaceful family farm. This farm has been in the family since 1973. We are less than 1 mile from this proposed site. I write this letter to express our concerns regarding the proposal to establish a large-scale shooting range near our residents. While we recognize the rights of gun ownership along with the interest some community members may have, in such a facility due to having children or grandchildren on the school trap team, we believe that placing a shooting range in close proximity to homes, farms, livestock, and a cemetery is not in the best interest of the neighborhood. We have both lived in the area our entire lives. We attended I-35 school along with all 3 of our children. Our daughters are very active in sports and extracurricular activities with the school district and the community. We do everything we can to support the children in our community. Our primary concerns include noise. The sound of frequent gunfire would be highly disruptive to the peace and well-being of residents, particularly families with children and elderly individuals. Property values. The presence of shooting range could negatively impact property values, making area less desirable for current and future homeowners. Quality of life. Many residents, ourselves included, choose to live here because of the quiet and safe environment. A shooting range so close to our home would significantly alter that. Livestock. We operate a cow-calf operation. We are the closest neighbors with cattle to the proposed site. In my research, a cattle near a shooting range will likely show signs of distress and fear, such as higher heart rate and increased movement. The intensity of their reaction depends on different factors, especially the distance and frequency of the shooting. Last Sunday at 1 p.m., I drove up to the new Pioneer Gun Club in Waukee to see for myself. The shooting range was very loud, especially within a mile distance, but still hearing a shooting up to 2 miles away. The residents who live next to the shooting range in Waukee choose to live there. We did not choose to live next to a shooting range. We live in the country for peace and quiet, not to sit on the porch listening to gunshots all day. The residents closest to this proposed site should be heard. Respectfully, Ryan and Deanna Morris.
Thank you.
Good evening, Michael Anderson, 3332 275th Street, St. Charles, Iowa. You guys have been addressed all night. I actually would like to direct my notes to the farmers in the room. You guys, we ask you to feed us, and you say yes. We need a new football stadium. We just raise taxes, and you pay for it. Thank you. You guys do that all on a gamble. You gamble on the weather, on the prices, on fuel, on everything. So I know you can gamble, and I know you are dedicated to your community. So I ask you, for this community, would you please take a chance on I-35 Shooting Sports? You will not be disappointed. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is read on behalf of my wife, Christine Stenga, at 2101 Wyoming Street. This is a direct response and refute to the legal memoranda that was submitted last week by the New Pioneer Gun Club to explain why their arguments fail under Iowa law and the Warren County Comprehensive Plan. First, they claim this rezoning serves a public purpose under the county's police power. The Iowa Supreme Court in Little versus Winborn rejected that exact claim, holding that incidental public benefits to a private club do not make a private rezoning lawful. The gun club is a 501c7 private club serving paying members. Rezoning protected farmland for private recreation cannot be justified as a public necessity. Second, they assert the property is uniquely suited for shooting. That's incorrect. GIS overlays and 2-foot elevation contours show flat cropland with minimal variation, identical to surrounding tracts. If costly, extensive earthwork is needed to build berms or barriers, that proves the land must be artificially altered. In Little versus Winborn, the court held that farmland requiring such modification is not distinct from its surroundings, conditions characteristic of spot zoning, where a parcel is carved out for private use inconsistent with the area. Third, they argue the project aligns with the comprehensive plan. It does not. The plan restricts rural areas to agricultural and other very low-intensity uses and directs commercial development towards the interstate system and town edges. While 2 small stonework businesses nearby hold commercial zoning, they are grandfathered, low-impact parcels, and one will revert to agricultural use when the operations end. Their limited scale is not comparable to a multidisciplined gun range. Policy 1.5.3 limits rural recreation to low-impact uses, parks, trails, and picnic areas, not a high-volume gun range with amplified sound, 240 parking spaces, event center, and possible operations past dark. A color-coded map does not govern this decision. The controlling language of the plan does. Fourth, they rely on Iowa Code 657.9 and 335.26 to justify rezoning. Those statutes don't compel counties to approve a range. They apply only after the land is properly zoned and merely limit later restrictions. The spot zoning standard under Iowa law remains the controlling test here, not the range statutes. And finally, they say the C2 Highway Commercial District allows this as a similar recreational use, but the ordinance itself lists examples such as golf ranges, swimming pools, skating rinks, baseball fields, all of which are quiet, daylight, low-impact activities. A multidisciplined gun range producing thousands of rounds, aggressive shooting tournaments, and lead residue deposits over intermittent streams and superior farmland bears no resemblance to those uses. For these reasons, I respectfully urge the board to find this rezoning inconsistent with the comprehensive plan and to deny it as illegal spot zoning under Iowa law. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank
you. Good evening, and thank you for an opportunity to share some thoughts with you. My name is Merlin Morris. I reside at 700 Church Street, inside New Virginia. I do, however, own property that's within a half mile of this proposed location.
Can you come closer to the mic?
Sorry.
Thank you.
I do own property that's within a half mile of this location, farm ground. So my point is going to be, we have endured an hour's presentation on an issue that we didn't ask for. We've listened to probably an hour or more of people who oppose it. They're probably adjacent to it or own property within a half mile or so. We've heard 3 individuals that's in that affected area that might be favor for it. But why are we doing this? Now, I don't have a whole lot of, I had all these other bullets I was going to do, but everybody has said the same thing. I'm glazed over, you're glazed over. We don't need to hear a whole lot more to make a decision. So my point is, who do you work for? I'm guessing that none of you 5 actually knew my name before I said it. However, one of you represents us. And you might actually recall a conversation we had a couple years ago when you're running for office. Other than that, most of the money, most of the issues are all taking place north of Highway 92, and that's where all the problems are solved. That's where you put your efforts forward. We're south of 92. We're in the southwest corner. We get nothing. We've got the poorest roads. There is a thought that we can get them repaired, but sometime take a drive between Medora and New Virginia. Take a drive between New Virginia and St. Mary's. St. Mary's and Martinsdale. That corner gets nothing to fix those roads. So I'm a little irked at that. So my challenge to you tonight will be, I'd ask you to do your job. Have you heard more people in favor of this who actually have a vested interest in the property that's either adjacent to it or within the sound of it? Or have you heard from the people who actually want this, which is a good thing? Nobody denies that these kids don't deserve a good place to do this shooting sports. But does it have to be in my front yard? In someone else's front yard? So who do you represent? Do you represent us, the taxpayers who are living in the southwest corner of Warren County? Or do you represent the bigger interest, trying to bring in some sort of business that I don't happen to believe will gain anything for us? Is there any chance at all to bring enough business in that'll reduce my taxes? Probably not. It's short-lived if it does. If it brings in the lost money, it gets used in the city of New Virginia. I get that. I used to be a one-time mayor of New Virginia myself, so I know the challenges there. And I apologize for running long. But lost money is a one-time issue. It gets used by a city that puts it where they want it, not necessarily where we need it, but where we want it. So lost is not a solution either. I don't see this generating any positive effect for the adjacent landowners to this property. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Sorry, another short person. My name is Janelle Faust. I live at 1007 Orchard Hills Lane in Norwalk. I actually wasn't planning on speaking tonight because I know everyone in this room is ready to go home. My emotions honestly got the best of me. One thing that I wanted to touch on is the fact that shooting sports is the only sport that I know of that you can shoot with your grandpa, you can shoot with your son on the same field, in the same competition, and create memories that truly last a lifetime. When we first started the shooting sports adventure, I honestly knew absolutely nothing about it. I had no idea. My daughter was a softball player, ended up picking up a shotgun and left her softball bat on the floor. It has caused me, who has physical limitations, to try shooting clay targets. Anyone in this room can go try it and exceed and have fun. My daughter is now a national champion, a national collegiate
Time out.
champion.
Excuse me, wait a second. Sir, can you please be respectful? People weren't talking when you spoke. Please provide the same courtesy to others. Thank you.
The amount of time, effort that goes into this sport is truly amazing. Someone brought up the fact that not all kids can do it based on money. I can tell you right now, there's people in this room that would be willing to lend any child a shotgun, pick it up, stand right next to them, teach them how to do it. And for that matter, teach anyone in this room how to do it. Doesn't matter if you're 9 or 99. My life has truly been changed. I have met the most amazing people, hearing attacks on people like my husband, who's sitting in that chair, Mr. Gibson and his family, with imaginations running wild. This is not that bad. I truly can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, I have fallen asleep on a range waiting for my daughter to shoot in a lawn chair. It's not as bad as people think. On a side note, I'm also a breeder of world champion quarter horses, and I can tell you right now that if my horse isn't afraid of strange noises, or I take my horse to the state fair and fireworks are going off, you know what? My horse doesn't blink an eye at that, and that's just an added benefit to something like this. I truly have compassion for everyone in this room. My daughter and I talked this weekend. I looked at her straight in the face, and I said, Libby, are we just immune to this? Is this something we are so used to, we're immune to it? We truly have compassion for people who are against it. We understand, but the growth, the young man who spoke earlier, he can get a part-time job at the gun club. I bet he can't go do that someplace else. We will be there to support him, we will help him, and it'd be right up his alley. And I really do thank you, and I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kathy Morris, 24300 R45 Highway, New Virginia. So I'm right next to Mr. Busby's. Anyway, everybody's heard all the data, all the emotion. It's up to you guys to eliminate the emotion, and it's a business decision. And that business decision is, it's not up to you to resolve the problem with the gun club situation. They're trying to intercede into a community area that's a bedroom community now. That happens, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody commutes to Des Moines. But the fact that we're all relying on, it's for the kids and that, well, that's great. Go buy some more land over by the school then. It's closer for them. But you have to be logical, pragmatic, and you have to respect the people who have been there, and that this was foisted upon them pretty suddenly. And it is quite a nice neighborhood. It's quiet. You can step out back door, look west, pretty sunsets. And who wants to hear a whole bunch of blasting? We tolerate it when it's hunting season. We tolerate it when guys set off fireworks. The dogs go nuts. Some of the animals go crazy. But we don't need it 24/7. So I know what they said originally. It was a 24/7, 365 business. And now it's backed off a bit, but who's to keep them in control if you let it go in? So I would like you to vote against it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I got one more, and I'm done, I promise. This is on behalf of my parents. Danny and I moved to our home at 3087 G76 Highway in February 2007. Just for context, it's about a half a mile down the highway from the gun club, proposed gun club. Through the years, we have enjoyed peaceful and friendly environment of country life just outside of New Virginia. We spent a great deal of time outdoors taking care of our property. In the spring of 2010, we had a large in-ground pool built in our backyard. Our family consists of 4 children, 5 grandchildren, all of whom spend time at our house on a regular basis. In addition, we have extended family members and many friends who spend time here, especially in the summertime. Over the years, we've hosted various poolside baby showers, kids' birthday parties, and a graduation party, as well as a weekly family night dinner. These gatherings are a source of joy, especially for the young children whose laughter and screams of excitement while playing in the pool are music to our ears. I cannot imagine the laughter of children and grown-ups alike being overshadowed by the constant sound of gunfire so near our home, nor can I imagine the constant sound of gunfire as I'm working outdoors taking care of our property. Our quality of life and that of the family and the friends who we spend time with at our home would be detrimentally affected by having the gun club so near our property. We pray that the concerns being voiced by the people in opposition to this gun club will be heard and respected. Most of us have lived in this area a long time and have earned the right to continue living in a peaceful and quiet environment. Thank you, Dennis and Patricia Morgan.
Thank you.
I'm Ben Howell, 2502 Valley Lane, St. Charles. Tonight I represent the Howell Family Farm. It's a century farm in New Virginia, so we've been there quite a while. We have a property that is located adjacent to the proposed site, 150 acres on G76. We back right up to the southeast corner. We are opposed to this location. The property has been used for cattle its entire life. It still has cattle on it. The gun club at this location will be detrimental to that. The noise, we believe, will scare the cattle, also the wildlife in the area, also the people living nearby. It's a nice, peaceful place. If you've ever been to a gun club, I believe most of them, it's recommended that you wear eye protection and hearing protection. That's for a reason. The watershed that drains from this property drains directly through our farm, several neighbors' farms. It is also a water source for the cattle that are on the farm. They drink out of the creek. I'm not sure that's a good thing if you got all the contaminants that could possibly be washed down. It's also going to be increased traffic. We're not against hunting or shooting. We all do that. We do it all the time. But it's a peaceful farming and residential area. I hope you guys, as a Board of Supervisors, will consider the lives of the longstanding residents of Warren County in this area and vote in the best interest, not just people from outside that want to come in and have it somewhere not in their neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Adrian Anderson. I'm son of Michael Anderson, who is the treasurer for the I-35 trap shooting sports team. And I would just like to let everyone know about all the cattle getting scared from all the shots. I have multiple neighbors around my house where we all shoot, not 24 hours a day, but we shoot many times within a month where the cows, there's been various different owners, various different herds of cattle, which is now owned by Tim Lovekiss recently. And they have all adapted within weeks of them moving in. It's a new herd all the time that they all get used to the noise of gunshots going on every single month. And it's not a big commercial gun range like this is, which is going to get used to it way faster than just me and my family and all my neighbors shooting here and there throughout the month. It doesn't take forever for them to get used to it, and they will get used to it soon, and it won't flinch. A gunshot within 50 yards of them, which is from their cattle lot to my yard where I shoot, roughly 50 yards, they don't move. They don't even have a reaction to it. They just keep grazing on their land. So all of you that want to say that it will scare their cows, scare their horses, it doesn't take that long for them to get used to it, and it won't change their lifestyle. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Mike Irwin, and I don't know if all you folks are aware of the Iowa deer hunting regulation. They don't use a rifle in Iowa. The DNR, in their great wisdom, enacted that to protect the people from stray bullets. These people here are trying to put 100 pounds in a 10-pound bag. They don't have enough room. They're only a quarter mile wide and whatnot. I have a farm. It's almost over 900 acres. I have buildings and bins that got bullet holes in them within 100 feet of a residence. So you tell me why that happened. Was it because of incompetency or inconsideration of my property? So now, can these two people ensure that will not happen? They will have, their people will be conform to their laws and have competency to use their firearms and discharge their firearms properly. So I think you folks need to consider that you need to protect the people in that area, people driving down R-76. You got everything in your hands right now, so take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Scott Wilson. I live at 2835 Highway G76, which is directly across the road from the proposed property. My house sits, I got 93 acres there. The house sits about in the middle of it. And I can't say anything that 50 other people haven't already said, other than how would you like a shotgun range in your front door right across the street from you? Would you like it to be there? Would you welcome it? That's all I got. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Greg Bedwell. We live at 3008 Highway G76, New Virginia, about half mile east of where the proposed gun range is going to go in. You know, here in the United States, we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, but not at the expense of anyone else and their rights. And we have a lot of proponents here for the gun range. Fewer Warren County residents. There are several that are not, several that don't vote in Warren County, several that don't pay taxes in Warren County. And no one in this room is going to be a opponent of any of the youth shooting sports and the benefits that they have there, but not at the expense of the other people that live in our community that have children and grandchildren that are there. We've talked a lot about livestock and raising and training livestock and that type of thing. We raised 4 kids there. They were all 4 in 4-H and FFA. They all had livestock projects that they trained to take to the fairs, and this would be just extremely difficult to try to do that in any kind of reason with this gun range that close to us. One question that we didn't get answered from the zoning board meeting was they keep saying shotgun, 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 but there's nothing technically saying that they couldn't take it on to the next level of rifles and pistols as mentioned at the hikes. We didn't really get an answer for that at all. I guess the other thing, you know, like I said, with the quality of life is just going to go completely apart. In my opinion, our responsibility of our elected officials is to help maintain and strengthen our communities. And as you can see tonight, and just like my friend Justin said, how the division has come in our community just because of this issue coming up for a vote. And it's not going to go away if this is approved. And like Scott said, you know, if you can ask yourself, would I like to have this within a half mile of my house? The board chairman for the zoning board lives within 2 miles of Banner, and he was the no vote. And one of our other members said they had kids in the shooting sports. They would not want this near their house, but they voted yes. So that was totally contradictory for that vote. And I didn't really understand where that came from, but you know, our community needs to be strengthened, and we have the current owner of the closed gas station in New Virginia is one of our neighbors also, and they're opposed to it. So that kind of speaks to the economic development of, you know, what our community is about and where they stand on this gun range. But the money's going to be spent at the boat down at Osceola or most likely West Des Moines or Waukee.
Thank you.
Am I allowed to speak if my letter was read?
Sure.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Good evening. Thank you guys all for being here. I know it's been a very long night. You all look very tired, and so I'm really sorry, but I know that coming from everyone in this room, either side, we really do appreciate you listening to us and taking the time to vote on this decision. My name is Cody Stone, and I live at 601 Orchard Hills Drive in Norwalk, Iowa. I am here to speak on behalf of my daughter and my family. I am here tonight as a parent who's seen firsthand how much this sport can change a kid's life. My family and I live in a small town home condo. We don't have a backyard, much less a safe and legal place for our kids to practice this sport. When my daughter joined the shooting sports in spring of 2023, it was a game changer. We've seen an incredible boost in her confidence, her responsibility, and social skills. And she's grown to be a leader of the sport and a positive role model. With no interest in the usual sports, this club isn't just a hobby, it's an essential part of her social growth. It's a place where she connects locally with peers from across the country and the state. This isn't just about shooting, it's about discipline and safety. Where else can a kid learn basic first aid, CPR, and most importantly, correct and responsible gun handling outside of a safe space? This gun club provides a supervised environment that teaches safety before anything else. For families like mine, this club's going to provide the only legal, safe, and insured place for this kind of recreation and training. It ensures that responsible practice happens in a controlled setting, which is exponentially safer. The Warren County Ikes facility provided a safe space for my 20-year-old autistic son to be able to try clay target shooting for the first time. I can understand the concerns of the community directly affected by the proposal, but if not in New Virginia, where? There's nowhere where we can go, no land that we can get that won't have neighbors who will be impacted by this decision. As a person who's lived in Madison County previously for 17 years, I've had horses all my life. And I will tell you that people love a horse who is well-trained, and that includes well-trained to not be gun-shy or shy at any loud noises. People would be proud of the horses that anyone in these residents would sell that would have the ability to take on that sound and be able to not react to it. We aren't just rezoning a piece of land, we're creating a safe and educational facility for our children. We are supporting responsibility, discipline, and the positive qualities every parent wants to see. And I really urge you to approve this rezoning. Please give my daughter and all the other children in this county and the state the chance to continue growing and thriving in a safe, structured environment. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry I had to bring up the rear. It was a little difficult for me to stand in line.
You're all right.
My name is Joyce Maston. I personally live at 407 East Street, right in the center of New Virginia. However, I am the director of Jesus Right Hand, located at 413 and 415 West Street. I had a speech, I had an idea. Everybody's covered that, much like Mr. Morris had said. But I have a few questions. They say that it will bring people to restaurants and to hotels and economic growth. I've lived in New Virginia since 2012, and I have not ever seen a hotel. We had a restaurant, yes, but it's closed. But I know that I feed tens of thousands of people every year. I can fudge my numbers and tell you that I have fed this many people, which I have, but we're talking households. Over 4,800 households have come through our doors last year, with a total of over 12,000 individuals. How is this going to help the people I have to feed? How is this going to help the people in our community? That's what I haven't heard. It's going to bring things in, but how is it going to help? I have no opposition to guns. I have no opposition to Second Amendment rights. But how is it going to help the people who come to me for food? How is it going to help our little community that I've grown to love as my own? No, I don't want to hear the gunfire. But I want to see my little community grow. But I'm seeing it torn apart. And what I'm seeing right now is a road being built to the gun club. And as it's being built, shovels of dirt are being thrown onto the town of New Virginia. Who's going to come into New Virginia? There's nothing there. How are we going to bring business into New Virginia? How are we going to help the people that need the help? How are we going to provide fellowship for people that have no one in that town to talk to, that come to us once a week just to talk to people? I need those questions answered. And as director of Jesus Right Hand, I would ask you to think long and hard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I think it is still Tuesday. My name is Rachel Gokin.
Really?
I am a resident of Warren County. I'm also the director of Warren County Economic Development. I had a whole spiel typed up and ready, so I wouldn't go over my 3 minutes. But so many of these things have already been covered 900 times. So I just want to highlight a few things. First of all, property values. This is a common thing that comes up with any possible development project that happens. There is opposition to every development project that ever happens. I think it's important, and I think it's great to hear, sad, but also great to hear the excitement or desire to see New Virginia be vibrant again. I've heard multiple people talk about the businesses that have closed across that community, and what are we going to do to bring that back? What are we going to do to bring livelihood back to this community? It starts by saying yes. It starts by saying yes to commercial development, industrial development, which makes perfect sense along the I-35 corridor, right off of pavement. So much more sense than a rural area off of a gravel road where you have to extend infrastructure. This is the logical place. That is why our comp plan calls for it. I was a part of the comp plan proposal creation. That is why we circled in those areas. This is the logical place for commercial development. It leads into the community of New Virginia. To the comments about people having to drive to Clark County or other communities to buy food, go to restaurants, stay at hotels, I would invite you to explore your own county that you live in. Right up the road in Norwalk, we have 2 brand new hotels. I'm sure they would love to entertain the guests that are visiting our fine community, and I think that would help them tremendously. But I also feel like this is the type of development, if we're bringing in people from all over the country, this is the type of development that spurs more development in this area. So if we're concerned about seeing New Virginia thrive again, this is how you do it. Also, there was a great question asked about remembering who do you represent as supervisors. I think this is a great opportunity to remind everybody, you represent everyone in Warren County, 50,000 people. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Hi, Wayne Weand, 22998 25th Avenue, right where it ends into the mud. Moved here in '97, worked 17 years for Methodist and General Stoddard, taking care of their x-ray and therapy equipment. Have a 40 acres on the corner that is peaceful and desirable for us. I've escaped from Los Angeles in 1980 with my family. I escaped from Portland, Oregon when I moved here to try and find a place that's quiet, reasonable, and somewhat conservative in lifestyle. My wife and I have spent time at Aquabi camping and have left because of the noise. So I will state that. And that is my purpose of standing up, is I'm against the gun club because of that. I am not against the gun club because of what they're doing. I just believe it's in the wrong place. Thank you.
Thank you. Did we reach that point?
Would you entertain a motion? Or wait, they want to
Oh,
come back?
okay. Yeah, if there's anyone else, we're gonna hear you out.
They just want to clarify some things.
Okay, so you got 3 minutes. And I'll take 3 minutes from this attorney, and I'll take 3 minutes from any other attorneys representing people. If you speak, you've got 3 minutes as well. We're gonna be above board, up and up.
3 minutes, that's it, right?
That's
Not
it.
going over. Thank you.
I will try to make this as quick as possible and pick our points here. Just wanted to clean up the record in a couple respects because we do anticipate a challenge to this decision, unfortunately, and I hope these points will help solidify and help make this decision final. First point on compatibility with a comprehensive land use plan. We agree that the board should consider the plan. We agree that the plan should look to preserve agricultural land in the county, but there's more to that story, right? I had a great professor that said, if you think you found the right answer, right, keep reading until you reach the bottom. And on page 62, there's the chart, the zoning compatibility chart that identifies A1 property as specifically compatible with all future land use. So I think that should answer that question. The second point, consistency with existing mixed use within the opportunity overlay zone. There was a statement that there were only eight C2 properties in this zone, right? So I went back and counted and identified each of the properties. There's actually 15 properties in this zone, and I mapped them out, and I'll submit this for the record by parcel ID number, just so that we're clear on that issue. Little versus Winborn, there was a lot made of that decision on spot zoning. It doesn't stand for the proposition, I think, that it's been raised for. It stands for the proposition that this board needs sufficient evidence to support its decision. The record needs to be clear in that respect. We have supported a memorandum of support on the spot zoning issue in anticipation of it being raised here. So we'll refer to and rely on that for these purposes. We do reiterate the request to specifically incorporate and reference the entire record when you're making your vote and motion tonight. That was a request made earlier by council. We think it's important that the board has sufficient evidence, right? And by expressly referencing, incorporating the entire record, you're helping make sure that this decision is as final as it can be. That fifth point, and I'm wrapping up here. This is going to sound controversial, but it's not. This is a black letter principle of law. It's from Anderson's American Law of Zoning, and it was cited by the Supreme Court in 2018. Iowa courts have consistently held that property owners in an area affected by a zoning decision, as well as adjacent landowners, have no vested right in the continuation of current zoning. And for that reason, courts do not focus on individual rights, right, to the economic development comments earlier. It's about, the entire community, the entire county, and making sure that we're making decisions on that basis. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Joel Templeman again. I didn't realize there was going to be rebuttal, but I appreciate the extra time. And I disagree with what was just presented regarding the status of the law. I think it's very clear, and I think it's very clear that your comprehensive plan does not support this type of use whatsoever, and it's inconsistent with Iowa Code Chapter 335. As far as the 15 now properties that are identified, Warren County Beacon shows 8. So if those records aren't updated, they probably should be, or the applicant could have shared this information with us in advance prior to the last 3 minutes of this whole presentation, which goes to a few of the points that were made earlier this evening about lack of transparency. Anyway, we're going to rely on the record that was made tonight as well, in addition to the PowerPoint that I hope you all did watch and review, because it was very thorough, cite a lot of case law in that PowerPoint presentation, as well as my letter and Trevor's letter. And we definitely respect your time today. I know it's been a long day for everybody, especially you, having to hear everybody. But we truly appreciate that, and we renew our request that you deny this application. Thank you.
Thank you. Any parting words? Good. Okay. With that, I'm going to make a motion to end our public hearing.
Second.
Board discussion. Roll call, please.
Aye.
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 Aye. Our public hearing portion of the meeting is over. I'm going to request 2 minutes. If anyone else from the board needs a minute or two, it's fine, but we're going to take a quick break for about 2.
Adjourn.
How you feeling down there, champ? Hope you fuss this time, don't you? You're not gonna come in first thing in the morning.
worried, are you? I'll get up early just for you guys. I'm gonna wake up at 5 a.m. just for you guys. Okay, you can all start calling me at 5 a.m.
Oh, hi, Kim. Hi. I forgot you were down there. Were you sleeping down there? Ah. Most of your zoning things?
No. No.
No, they never are.
All right. Back at it, folks. All right, our public hearing has concluded. It's now time for board discussion. Anyone like to start?
I guess I'll go ahead and start. Thank you to everybody who came this evening. I appreciate, I know the questions have been asked, specifically by Joel, the attorney. Yes, we got all of the information. I have it printed, it's organized, so we have gotten all of that information, and our attorneys and our zoning commission and our zoning director and staff have done a great job of making sure we have everything. I appreciate everybody who's here tonight. I really like seeing the engagement of our younger generation. I appreciate the emails, the phone calls. I appreciate all the perspectives. Question was asked, would I want this in my backyard? I don't know. I live in the city limits. You know, and I don't know. I don't know. But what I know is we've got a lot of people trying to do something great here. I deeply appreciate all of this engagement. As we all know, the state of Iowa continues to focus on providing property tax relief. I don't think there's one person in this room that would say they want to pay more property taxes. That places significant limitations on how we operate and how we are able to maintain the services in our infrastructure. It goes along with your school too. There's state legislation that now requires teachers are paid a certain amount the first year and then their second year. That's good. We want to encourage our children to become teachers, right? That comes at a cost. It can either be commercial cost or it could be residential. That's the cost here. So when I ran for office, I ran on lowering residential property tax through economic development, and this is exactly the type of project that supports that goal. New commercial investment helps us grow our tax base by balancing our revenues, and it takes the pressure off of the residential taxpayers. I understand that not everybody's gonna agree with this. I get it. I respect all of your opinions, and I appreciate you all coming. But after looking at all the long-term economic and school impacts and community impacts, I believe this is a project that's net positive for our county and for the Interstate 35 school district. I truly believe that in the years ahead, you'll see how this type of commercial development does help sustain our local services, and it does reduce the strain on your residential property taxes. Thanks for being here today and presenting your cases.
Crystal, Brian,
I'm really struggling seeing where the case of it being spot zoning. I've looked at the beacon map upside down, left, right. I'm counting the 15 properties. I just cannot see where the spot zoning comes into play here. And even if we want to say that it's on the future comprehensive land use plan, how do we get to the future? We've got to start now. You know, if we look at New Virginia, you know, I'm a part of the New Virginia community. I've got a New Virginia address. We spend a lot of time over there. You look at Allen Mills, the gas station, it's gone. The depot's gone. Subway, come and go. Getting close. Gosh, I can't help but think that Bart's Tire and Auto would benefit from some oil changes and some tire sales when mom and dad are dropping their kids off at practice. You know, the question of how would this help the New Virginia community? And kind of like Rachel said, you start with the spark of economic development. This is the only spark that has presented itself in a long time in that area. Next, it could be a 3 or 4 day a week restaurant, deli, pizza parlor, family type restaurant. You know, it's got to start somewhere. And I believe this is a pretty good start.
To echo one more thing that Rachel said, we understand we represent all of you in this room, but we represent 55,000 citizens in this community and in our county, and we might not be, as Mr. Peterson said, the fastest growing county, but we are the second fastest growing county in Iowa, and we are proud of that, because as we continue to grow, it does grow that tax base.
Crystal or Brian?
You gonna say something?
Nothing? Okay.
I want to say it. I guess I have some questions for you guys. Some things were brought up, like, could there be a way that you could schedule around funerals?
I was listening to that, and that kind of struck a note with me. I can't answer that question right now because it's not my decision to make, but I can tell you that we definitely would look into that. I mean, Brent's here with me. He's the president of our board. And I've said this numerous times till I'm blue in the face, we are good neighbors. And I wouldn't want to have somebody being buried at the cemetery and having gunfire. And I can tell you that we would do something about that.
How far is the cemetery?
About a half mile.
It's not far.
Over a mile.
It's over a mile.
Yeah.
It's right about a mile.
I'm 1.2 and it's west of me.
Right.
Or east, sorry, east of me.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Have you done a traffic study?
No,
No? Okay. And then will there be any shooting at night?
No, our current facility, I can only speak off of the way we've operated for the last 60 years. That's our history, that's our story. That's how how we act as people. We put up, field lights 2 or 3 years ago. The reason we put those lights up is we host the college state championships in November, and it gets dark at, I don't know, 4:30, 5 o'clock, somewhere in there. We turn those lights on so the kids can have their shoot-offs. So at the end of the day, you know, they're tiebreakers. That usually lasts maybe 30 minutes. You have anywhere from 2 to 5 people up on the line. The first one that misses, they're out. So it's very minimal, very minimal. And other than that, I really don't know how much we've used the lights beyond that. I mean, it's been hard to figure.
Okay.
We don't plan on lighting all 7 fields that are up there. We'll probably light one field just for that instance.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. And protections of the stray bullets.
Yeah, so, in our, PowerPoint presentation, there's, maybe point it up right here.
Talked about the berms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this chart here, the 300 yards is a safety zone, and the shot fall zone is actually within that. And I think, like shot from a 7.5, 8 or 9 shot travel is about 170 yards to 200 yards is where your shots concentrated. This zone represents the safety piece of it. Anybody can walk, drive, hang out, do whatever they want outside that zone, outside that 300-yard zone. The shot fall itself is going to be contained within 170 to 200 yards, and we'll have that all laid out from our civil engineer when we move forward with plans if this is approved.
Okay, thank you.
Do you plan on having any fences around the property?
Absolutely, absolutely.
As far as the front gate, like a lockable fence?
Yeah, and we have a manager that'll be on site too, 24/7.
Okay.
As part of our safety program out there, but we will definitely have fence all around the property and with it posted and so on and so forth. So.
In our A1 district, 41.02 has some district regulations on top of the special use permit, specifically calling out outdoor firearm ranges. And we've kind of heard a lot about the post-operation cleanup procedures and stuff like that. I would be really looking to have some kind of a document detailing those post-op cleanup measures, and maybe talking to Don and Becky back there, but would you guys be open to carrying a surety bond on that post-op cleanup?
Yes, I can speak to that. We do have, it should be in the record, we have a memorandum of understanding, basically mirroring all of the requirements of A1 special use permit.
When you speak into the mic, it's been
Yes,
recorded.
yeah, I'm
It's
sorry.
okay, and other people want to hear.
In the record, we do have a memorandum of understanding that we signed. It mirrors the requirements of an A1 special use permit. We wanted to make clear that, you know, this wasn't an end run around the special use permit outlines or requirements for that type of use. So all those things are addressed in the memorandum of understanding.
Anything further?
We're seeing if Travis was done.
Oh, sorry.
No, are you done?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And what guns are you going to shoot? Any other outside of the shotguns?
Again, I go back to our history. We have never had pistols, rifles. It's shotgun only. And it's even a step further to where it's target load. So we have specific rules against, you can't go out there and bring a turkey load or a pheasant load and shoot like targets. It's target loads. And the history of the club, we've been around even before 1960, and it's always been shotgun, and it's always going to stay that way. And the number one reason for that is safety. We don't want people running around, you know, having to deal with stray bullets and whatnot that you get with rifles. It's too hard to police. So
Okay.
we keep the shotguns for us.
All right, thank you.
Can the peanut gallery ask a question?
Not at this time, sir.
Yeah, we closed the public hearing, sir.
Why don't they aim the thing south?
Okay. What was that?
Why they don't move it south, I mean, I imagine you wouldn't like that, right? Because I think you're south of the west. So, I mean, somebody's not gonna like it. This is what works, I would assume. for them.
Public time is over.
And then what was, you said 9 a.m. to dusk, and then is that like set in stone? What policy are you gonna have in place for those times?
Yeah, so right now we operate from 8 a.m. to dusk, and dusk isn't dark, so it's
Right.
that time before that. So in the summertime, or particularly in the spring, by the time the students get out of school and then travel over to shoot, it's 4 o'clock. I think some practices even start like at around 6 o'clock. But then they're done by 7:30 or 8 o'clock, which is that dusk time. In the winter, dusk is, 4:30. The range does not see that much use throughout the winter, most just because it's cold and people don't want to stand outside when it's cold. So we are open, but we just need to be a little bit cautious of the SETP youth part of it, because the youth part of it is what drives it. If the range doesn't survive by, myself or Brent or some of us older gentlemen using it, the range survives and is there for the youth piece of it.
Okay, thank you. I guess I want to share kind of my perspective on this. I grew up in Texas, and guns are just a way of life. Lived out in the desert. At 6 years old, I was shooting rabbits, and in second grade, I brought in a rifle to show and tell. It's what we did. I lived in a small town. In high school, I carried a .22 pistol with me in my purse. I served in the U.S. Army. I know guns, and I'm a little perturbed when I hear that you can hear this 4 miles away. You can't hear a shotgun 4 miles away. I'm sorry. You can't. My family are generational Isaac Walton League members. And you are going to take business away from our league. But my family is in support of this because they are in support of the children. We've been shooting on the range when deer and turkey, just like what that young lady, Laura, I think it was, who said that, we've had to stop. How many times, let's see, I think it was back in July when I heard about this. I applaud New Pioneer on hosting the town hall. I have disapproved of other projects because they didn't include the community. And I think they have tried really hard to get this information out in front of you. Posting on Facebook, getting out into the community really speaks to me. The environment is extremely important to me. You have a proven record that you've taken care of that. There's safety records where they want to relocate, and this showcases New Virginia in economic, tourist, and taxation for your communities in a way that encourages growth and spotlighting your community nationally. This is incredible. So, Chair, I'm ready to vote.
Got it. Here are my thoughts. One, I want to thank everyone for their time. This is the part of the job that is not fun. I like to make everyone happy where you can, and frequently in this job, it's an impossibility. If this board said no, there will be plenty of people that will be very dissatisfied with that decision. If this board says yes, rezone the property to C2, there will be plenty of people that will be dissatisfied with that position. It's a no, you're not going to catch everyone. So when I make a decision, I try to take the emotion out of it. I think I will tell people this. The folks that live right next to it, I listen to the words and I understand those concerns. Those are valid concerns. I 1000% agree. Right next door to it, you're going to hear it. Real close to it, you're going to hear it. That's a change from where you're at. That's an unpleasant change. I get it. As people move further and further away from the proposed rezone site, you know, the comments of, you know, we're gonna hear this from 5 miles away or whatever. That is not real compelling. Because one, I mean, I shoot, we bird hunt, we deer hunt. But the point is, can't make everyone happy. So what I try to do here is look at and spoke with our attorney and our zoning commission. I looked at our zoning board. To go against the zoning board, I'm not saying that we've never done that. We do it sometimes. Their opinion's not controlling upon our board on what we do, if we rezone or not rezone. But I respect them. They're volunteers. They take some time and they get into the weeds on these as well and figure out what they think. I did look at the comp plan, and really, in my mind, what this comes down to is this. I think if I asked everyone in the room to raise their hand if they like, in theory, the new Pioneer Gun Club being somewhere, I won't get all of you, and I understand that. But I'm going to catch probably 70 or 80% of you are going to say, I think that's a good thing. If you ask, and some people did pose the question, would you want that right next to you? Hands are going to come down a lot, right? They're going to come down a lot. So the question then is it an argument of simply NIMBY, the not in my backyard? Or is it, if not here, then where? So when I look at commercial and industrial development in this county, I don't want it on gravel. I do want it on pavement. I do want it close to, you know, main arteries. And that's why my reading of the comp plan shows that this is a proposed future zone for commercial. And so taking the emotion out of it and saying, if not here, where? And I know that that's easy if you're a neighbor to say, well, it would fit better somewhere else. And all that's creating is another group of neighbors that are going to say, well, not in my backyard. And so it becomes an impossibility. For those reasons, I will be supportive of the rezone. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the rezoning for New Pioneer from A1 to C2.
Second?
You waiving or?
And I will, well, I'd like to see how this plays out. I would waive the second and third reading. Pending the results of the board's vote, though.
If it's unanimous, you'll waive
If
it?
it's unanimous, I would like to waive it. If it is not, I think we should have second hearing of this.
Travis, are you good with seconding that motion?
Yep.
We have a motion and a second. As stated, roll call, please.
Erickson?
Aye.
DeWitt?
Aye.
Arnold?
Aye.
Aye.
Cook?
Aye. The motion carries. Thank you all for your time.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Roll call.
Erickson? Aye. DeWitt?
Aye.
Arnold?
Aye.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.